Climate change technologies can boost the Earth to its most sustainable phase, terraform new worlds and surpass all alien technologies. In a rapidly changing world, innovation is key to overcoming every catastrophe and obstacle. During disastrous times, innovation is boosted and people act upon the important matters at hand. Many new technologies will be developed to ease off the unstable climate and declining environment. Without natural resources like water, society collapses in a short time. This can be prevented with technological developments that are capable of stabilizing climate and protecting the environment. Oceans, living creatures altogether. The Earth had been regenerating itself for millions of years. Now humans have to take responsibility of their only home world. Other worlds will never like the Earth. It has all the resources and mechanisms to breathe life to other realms. Literally, the planet nor human society doesn't need more advanced technology acquired from the aliens to travel in space. Likewise, industrial growth has its limits. It's been damaging and harming the planet's life-giving resources, habitats, and ecosystems for centuries. Even agriculture had caused so much damage to the planet and killed billions of animals. Animals do better in their ecosystems when they roam freely. The biodiversity unique to each region has the power to restore and enrich ecosystems. The good thing is climate-based technologies planned to reverse catastrophic shifts can be beneficial for the environment and society if they can be engineered and manufactured with fewer materials and improve environmental conditions. There is so much carbon in Earth's and Mars' atmosphere to capture, synthesize with other gases, elements and chemicals to make so many things without extracting from the environment. This is how human society can become more sustainable and protect its world from great harm. Some people believe coming changes are locked in. There is no way to reverse their pattern that will intensify each year. There is still hope. Every nation has to concentrate and cooperate for the critical matter of this age. It's not just climate change. There are many other subjects and incidents like the extraterrestrials. Extraterrestrials are literally more advanced technologically than humans of Earth. This doesn't mean humans don't have the potential to build a better civilization that's more sustainable, green and advanced in other means than the aliens. Via new technologies, water can be generated anywhere in the world, even in the driest areas, with solar hydro panels. This is the movement in the right direction. Society might have finally found the path it's supposed to follow for thousands of years. With these new technologies, very large tracts of degraded, barren lands, deserts can become green, productive polycultures that support communities and biodiversity. These new technologies will improve and augment every year. More companies, communities, cities will make use of them to build up water security and natural abundance. Carbon capture and synthesis can emerge as the newest industry to make and manufacture countless products without impairing natural resources. Drought conditions are more prolonged, intense and extensive. Many regions are undergoing very severe droughts. This is a result of global warming and climate change. They aren't the same thing, but they're interrelated. Many water reservoirs that once were flowing or filled with so much fresh water are almost completely dry now. For this reason, water must be generated technologically at an industrial and global scale. After that, drying and desert regions can be regenerated with the water that's generated with new technologies because water, plants and eventually biodiversity have the power of natural recovery and rehabilitation. With enough water and suitable seeds, saplings, trees, many animals, richer soil filled with nutrients and organisms, the driest lands had become productive forests by nature enthusiasts. This progression can be scaled up globally to reverse droughts, desertification and gradually climate change. Newly developed hydrogel can absorb the moisture in the air and produce a lot of water without any inputs. Technologies like this must be shared globally to produce enough water for communities to regenerate their environment as a carbon sink farm. By sinking tons of carbon naturally, communities can become self-sufficient and produce enough for themselves and for others. Farming can be a great carbon sink globally. Of course, most of the world is suffering with droughts. Novel air-to-water technologies must be scaled up globally and shared with communities in need. Then, these communities can have enough water to plant many crops, commit to regenerative farming, reforestation and desert regreening practices. Water is always the most life-giving and critical resource for all living beings. It's in great danger. Nobody knows how much water there will be around the world soon. Drought conditions are amplified as a result of rising temperatures and atmospheric imbalance. There is so much water in the atmosphere at any moment, New technologies are able to extract water from the air with solar hydro panels, hydrogels, and other systems. These climate technologies will revolutionize human society. Many more of them will be developed and discovered to tackle climate change and environmental issues. By extracting water from the air, crops, plants, trees can be grown anywhere. This can uplift impoverished communities living in desert areas. By scaling air-to-water technologies, groundwater pumping which depletes groundwater reserves can be obsolete. Many dry regions rely on groundwater to carry out their operations and agriculture. Air-to-water technologies can eliminate old water pipes, plastic bottles, packaging, waste and carbon-intensive transportation of water. Researchers have created the gel film made of abundant materials that can extract water from available moisture in the air, even in the driest climates. Open pore structure and hydrophilic nature accelerates the moisture capture process. It's made of plant-based materials that are abundant and renewable. Hydrogels are easy to make and use. Anyone can make it if they have the materials to produce water anywhere. It's difficult for rain clouds to form and precipitate over large areas in most places. With new technologies like this, there is no need to wait for it to rain. Many devices can produce enough water to be used for anything, including regreening the environment. They work similar to fog-catching nets that were used for a long time. There may be moisture and water molecules in the atmosphere of moons and other planets like Mars. Air-to-water technologies can be used, just like carbon dioxide to oxygen technologies. Carbon dioxide can turn into oxygen to be combined with hydrogen to produce water. Carbon is captured to be combined with other elements for manufacturing. There are many elements floating in the atmosphere of Earth and other planets. They can be captured to make many things with chemical synthesis. By extracting elements and combining them for manufacturing of parts, fuels, components, carbon fiber, water, and many other things, advanced models of spacecraft and other types of craft can be self-healing. There are many elements in the air and in the ambience all the time for chemical synthesis. Eventually, advanced models of crafts will make their own fuels while they're on the go. This would provide them almost infinite range. Even in planets like Mars, there are so many elements in the air to manufacture so many things. Plants and other organisms had been doing this for millions of years. They've been gathering and assembling a lot of elements as nutrients to produce sugars, to grow, to feed the soil organisms, fungi, and many other useful materials. New technologies will mimic these processes found in nature for green manufacturing systems. Greenest areas produce a lot of water by forming their own rain clouds to precipitate frequently. For this reason, with new water technologies, most of the world must become self-sufficient for people to live without harming the environment. People can create new forests with new water technologies to live and grow more than they need and use. This would minimize the environmental impact of society and growing population. Back in the day, people were growing all they could to survive, saving most of it for harsh seasons. Robots will be able to produce their own carbon-negative fuels or recharge themselves with wireless electricity, also produce water from the air and transport it to where it's most needed. There are land robots and drones that sow seeds to restore degraded lands. Robots are getting more intelligent. They will be able to complete many repetitive, arduous, dangerous tasks. Restoring the environment with new seeds, reforestation, space colonization and many other projects can be done by robots because they're either repetitive or very difficult missions. Robotic intelligence can be transported to other planets like Mars. They can gather and utilize the materials from the vicinity, process and combine them to make many things. They can also collect the elements in the atmosphere to synthesize chemicals, fuels, water, useful materials to manufacture and build structures. People need more fertile land for agriculture. That's why large areas of forests had been burned down in recent years. Robots and drones in coordination can carry out reforestation projects in areas spoiled by deforestation, fires, pollution, and degradation. They can make cities greener, can assist in innovative missions and projects, also help in factories, vertical farms, and many sustainable industries that are in development. People require so many resources. Perhaps robots can perform most of the tasks, so the environment can be preserved and restored to its most pristine state. Most of the society can be powered by solar. Batteries to store energy will be made of abundant materials soon. Grid-scale storage can make energy usage totally renewable and clean worldwide. Solar is becoming like a skin encompassing the entire world. It's getting thinner, being incorporated into windows, facades, buildings, cars and so many ways. High-tech vertical farms can cover entire buildings in cities to capture carbon, and they can be powered by solar facades, windows, and rooftop panels. Just like forests, large vertical farms can remove tons of carbon from the air and turn it into useful materials and feedstock for industrial use and green manufacturing. Cities can become self-sufficient, produce everything they need without relying on polluting industries much longer. Green buildings and vertical farms will be some of the most futuristic parts of cities. They will improve every year to capture more carbon and produce many useful things for the population nearby. A new sector had emerged during times of crisis, which might be climate change technologies. Every sector will adapt to the new conditions of climate and catastrophic events. Waste is going to be one of the greatest resources. It won't be dumped to landfills that are very bad for the environment. New manufacturing processes will convert all kinds of waste into new products easily. Waste will never end up in landfills, in waterways or in oceans. There is so much waste being generated worldwide to build so many things. Plant-based materials might be easier to recycle or get composted. A lot of things and industries will be fully plant-based. They will grow more than they use as a carbon capture and ecological boost with polycultures that mimic natural landscapes. Cities will blend into the surrounding landscape without altering its growth. They will be more like forests than concrete and asphalt jungles. New technologies to build roads, structures, buildings, houses, complexes, offices with materials from capture carbon, plant-based materials are in development. Cities can remove carbon by injecting the carbon captured from the air or inside plant materials. Most sectors can adapt to the new climate by building new forests as productions, living habitats, for many other uses. Not everything has to be high-tech. Advanced technologies require more resources and rare earth minerals. It's better to make and manufacture with organic compounds and materials that can be grown sustainably. Plant-based solutions to climate change can bring out many new technologies and manufacturing methods to the global market. This will boost sustainability of every sector supplying the globe. Plants had been providing most of the resources before the industrial revolutions. They can be used to make anything by removing so much carbon from the atmosphere. Vast areas in the oceans can be farmed with water plants that can be used for feedstock for manufacturing of many products. The people who grow a diversity of plants know how versatile they are. They grow by absorbing carbon and other elements from the air and ambience. Various species also fix nitrogen in the soil. Most of the world, even the driest areas, can become fertile, productive fields. Agrophotovoltaics uses solar panels over farmland. They provide shade to crops and increase yields, resilience and water retention. Solar hydro panels can be placed over croplands and polycultures which are better for the environment. They can produce enough water for crops to grow. Organic nutrients can fertilize polycultures designed to regenerate the environment. Solar can be one of the best supplements to sustainable and regenerative farming practices worldwide. Solar is going to be a big part of cities soon. Many components of cities and buildings will generate energy, produce water, and contain new production systems that remove carbon from the air. Plant waste and other types of organic waste can be used to make carbon-based technologies from nanotubes, graphene, and other carbon allotropes. Many new technologies made of waste will be developed in the near future. Perhaps, there won't be a need to mine many minerals by harming the environment at a global scale. Carbon allotropes had been proven to conduct electricity effectively. They can be produced in different ways, also be utilized to make new tech components. If waste is converted into tech components, electronics waste can be prevented. E-waste is going to be as big as plastics waste soon. People buy more electronics than any time in history. Most of the electronics, at least chips and many parts, can be made from carbon-rich waste. Carbon capture and utilization is crucial to a healthy climate that won't induce more catastrophic events and instability. From captured carbon from the air, carbon-based technologies and manufacturing will emerge. Most of the products can be made from materials produced by regenerative farming and polycultures that improve the environment. Traditional farming degrades the soil, deprives it of essential nutrients, fungi and microbial life. Regenerative farming and polyculture methods sink carbon into the soil, enriches the environment, boost diversity of nutrients and microbial organisms in the soil. All of these enhance the farming that can be used for green manufacturing without polluting the environment with plastics, greenhouse gases, and so much waste. After the age of fossil fuels and computers, a carbon technology future may be ahead. Carbon is abundant, and it can be sourced from organic waste to manufacture high-tech products and components. Air carbon and waste carbon will be employed to create many new technologies. The new era in technology has already begun. People are discovering new ways to make things with surrounding carbon without undermining the environment and depleting natural resources. By converting the carbon in the air and waste, the world's climatic state can be remedied. Green manufacturing processes can achieve this goal if they can remove and use carbon to make all kinds of products and tech components. Since carbon nanostructures are very efficient conductors of electricity and heat, they can be used to build microchips, processors, and even thermophotovoltaic cells. This new thermal-electric technology converts the heat from any source to electricity, just like solar panels convert sunlight to electricity. Thermophotovoltaic cells are similar to solar cells and solar panels. There is so much waste heat in every industry. Engines run the world, and they emit high amounts of heat. This heat source can be harnessed to generate so much electricity with thermal cells that can be made of carbon nanostructures. Silicon had been used to make microprocessors, solar cells, transistors for so many years, yet carbon nanotubes can replace them one day. Photovoltaics and thermal cells can be combined to generate energy from sunlight and heat at the same time. Temperatures are rising every year. Heat waves torment cities during hot months. Thermal cells can convert the excess heat in the environment and coming from factories, engines, and other heat sources into abundant electricity to power the grid. Eventually, the world's power grid will be supplied with renewable electricity from many sources. Energy from thermal can be one of them. Various chemicals can capture the air carbon to create new industrial-grade chemicals. They can be stored as energy in chemical-based solutions for many uses. In this way, air carbon can be a great resource for industrial and chemical processes. Plastics and other materials and fuels that pollute the environment, oceans, and the air can be made with chemical carbon capture and utilization. Cities will change for the climate goals and sustainability. They will be powered by renewables and efficient battery systems. Some cities are already going car-free. Most of the goods are delivered to small and dense urban centers that anyone can access amenities in 15 to 20 minutes walking, biking or urban transit. Battery systems will play a critical role in climate goals. New battery systems made of hot bricks can support the grid and recharge with renewable energy. Hot brick batteries store the energy for a long time in hot chambers. No rare earth metals or lithium is used to make them. This new invention can be used anywhere and can be scaled up globally to support power grids. It's made of abundant materials like sand, iron, aluminum, graphite, etc. Entire buildings can be like miniature cities that are completely self-sufficient. New energy devices will turn buildings into energy generators and storage facilities. Vertical farming can supply all kinds of plant-based materials for green manufacturing on site. Some cities are incorporating lush vegetation to every surface of buildings, cities, walls, roofs. This reduces temperatures, heat island effect and boosts the environmental friendliness and happiness levels of cities. Energy storage will be made of abundant materials and integrate into every building and neighborhood, while renewable energy is going to be almost in every surface like solar windows, roads. In the future, asphalt roads will be obsolete, energy-generating roads will replace them. Concrete and asphalt contributes to heat island effect in urban areas. They can be replaced with environmentally friendly alternatives. Solar roads had been tested to work well. They can generate a lot of energy. Energy will be transferred wirelessly to electric cars, trucks from wireless charging roads that get charged up with solar during the day. Roads cover up a very large area in the world. They can be energy generators just like buildings with solar windows, roofs and new integrated wind turbine walls. There is always space for climate innovation in every sector, city, and aspect of society. New energy and storage technologies can be developed with abundant materials without destructive mining practices. Eventually, a lot of components and parts will be made of processed carbon from the air. Some companies had developed carbon fiber alternatives with air carbon that are as sturdy and expedient. Hydrogen will be one of the best energy sources to power anything soon. Hydrogen production will be scaled up to supply the demand and replace polluting industries. Seawater can be filtered out to remove the salt, then the clean water can be split into hydrogen and oxygen with electrolysis. In this way, seawater can be used to produce so much hydrogen, oxygen, and salt at the same time. Sodium-ion batteries are going to be as good as lithium one day. Salt from desalination plants and filtration facilities can be collected to make sodium-ion batteries for the grid, for electric cars and even for electronics. At the end of the day, sodium batteries can be better and a lot more eco-friendly than current batteries. Very futuristic and sustainable models for new cities are being drafted. Some of them will have layers of renewable energy, electric transport, vegetation, forests, parks, recreation areas and futuristic designs. Solar walls as high as skyscrapers will power the entire city easily. Rapid transport will take people across. The top layer is going to be designated for lush vegetation, parks, viewing, and recreation. Some people think that most futuristic and sustainable city designs powered by clean energy can transform deserts into livable and abundant landscapes. Many regions are getting drier and deserts are expanding every year. Nations have to cooperate to reverse this calamity as a result of climate change and rising temperatures. Futuristic, green cities can reshape dry areas into self-sufficient cities that are capable of introducing biodiversity, lush vegetation and natural resources like water to drying sections. New thermophotovoltaic cells can harness the light and heat emitted from hot energy storage units. Thus, they can generate more energy than solar panels consistently. Renewable energy can be stored in large hot batteries that emit light and heat to thermophotovoltaic cells that can absorb a wider band in the electromagnetic spectrum. Gallium arsenide is used for thermophotovoltaic cells with the capability to absorb infrared light as well. This material is used in solar panels and satellites. It gathers more energy from a wide spectrum of light. There is so much light reflected into the atmosphere as heat and as infrared, which is invisible to human eye. All of these can be harvested with new solar thermal cells that can be a big part of cities and power grids. Mirrors are embedded into thermophotovoltaic cells for them to absorb the light that's not harvested yet. Mirrors can concentrate light onto solar farms and other solar thermal devices for them to generate more energy day and night. For instance, moonlight at night can be concentrated onto solar farms for them to generate energy at night. Large can continuously reflect light on solar panels and large solar farms, so they can generate more energy without intermittency. Perhaps, light can be simulated in a loop between solar panels and mirrors, since solar panels generate energy only when sun is shining. Energy generated from large solar farms will be stored in hot batteries that can shine bright light onto indoor solar thermal cells. Thereby, energy is generated without intermittency. This new system can be a big part of the energy grid that's going to interconnect each region globally. Batteries are very significant for energy transition to renewables and green infrastructure. Each structure can generate energy, instead of consuming energy from the grid powered by fossil fuels. Buildings and cities can be redesigned as energy generators. One day, the waste heat and ambient heat can be utilized as new energy sources with devices like thermophotovoltaics. Solar powers nature, it can be power every aspect of society. Forests are extremely significant for all life on Earth. When manufacturing of products switches to mostly plant-based, new forests can be grown as polyculture productions. They can restore degraded landscapes and provide most of the resources for manufacturing. Solar energy can be converted into chemicals and oils to mass produce a wide variety of products, without using fossil fuels. New technologies will rely on bacterial processes. Bacteria, microbes, yeast can be used in bioreactors to make more eco-friendly substitutes. Biomolecule will be more common in productions. Cities and products will be more like living organisms in the near future. They will heal themselves from the elements accumulated from the environment and the atmosphere. Bacteria can be engineered to produce useful chemicals and materials. They can substitute polluting substances common today. A lot of countries had more forests in the past. Overgrazing and cutting down trees have mutated forested areas into bare. Soil washes away, erodes and becomes a barren landscape without productivity and susceptible to disasters and degradation. Countries must reforest as much as they can with native and new species that can adapt to their climate and environment. For this, they need a lot of plant nurseries to grow millions of seedlings, saplings for reforestation, also for creating new forest farms that produce a lot of useful things, not just food. When large areas that once were barren become rich forests, water will return to the lands. This is how nature produces and filters water naturally. Without enough biodiversity in nature, there won't be enough water, nor resources for the growing population. Eventually, Mars colonies will implement the most effective regeneration systems to build self-sufficient and lively outposts in space. Plants can grow on other planets and soils. Scientists have tested and confirmed this. It's easier for biodiversity to adapt to new environments than a few species of animals, plants, trees in a drying terrain. Forests and forest farms are some of the most significant assets of the Earth and human society. Energy and water-generating trees will be developed by collaboration of scientists and engineers. Solar trees can generate energy, yet by absorbing the air moisture, they can also produce a lot of water to provide water for forest farms. Thus, forests supported by these new high-tech trees can organically and technologically produce energy, water and all kinds of things. Most of the construction can be done with plant-based materials and building blocks. Eventually, scientists will invent the best concrete, asphalt, cement replacements that are made of plants and waste. Currently, concrete and asphalt cities contribute to climate change, environmental degradation and resource depletion altogether. For this reason, cities have to be more like forests. They have to be designed like forests and exist and grow in harmony with nature and natural resources. Overconsumption has to be proscribed, especially the natural resources. Without rich natural resources, the environment cannot regenerate itself, cannot regrow. In the past, many regions had rich natural resources and greater forest cover. All of these regions must be transformed back into their most pristine form. Growing and constructing better and bigger cities won't solve any issues, nor make society more advanced and more livable. There is waste with great properties that can be used to 3D print all kinds of buildings, facilities, and complexes. In the future, construction can be made with 3D printed waste. Binding agents can make all kinds of waste like a cement to 3D print entire towns, offices and residential complexes. Vertical forests can be a big part of cities. A lot of buildings can include high-tech vertical farms with great environmental benefits. People can go to stores that grow most of the things on site with high-tech vertical farms and walls. There isn't much space in most cities, but there is a great need for urban productions and healthier options. High-tech indoor farming can be a solution for polluted cities that strive to transform themselves into greener sanctuaries. Vertical forests as high as skyscrapers have so many benefits like enhanced ecological footprint, mitigation of heat islands, improving energy waste, insulation and reducing air pollution, provision of plant-based resources. When everything is grown and produced locally, there is no need for long-distance transport. Most of the goods travel long distances around the world. This will be a thing of the past. Cities will be extremely productive, convert pollution, air carbon, waste into many products. People will be able to interact with how the products and foods they buy and consume are being cultivated and made. This will bring greater interactivity, ecologic knowledge, natural adaptation to cities. New chemical processes are being developed by engineers and scientists to remove CO2 to make industrial-grade materials. Some materials used are derived from steel slag, mineral rocks, and many other sources that can capture and convert CO2 and carbon into a useful feedstock for many industries. Many products and building materials will be made this way. They will remove more carbon than they emit, making them totally carbon negative. This can be scaled up globally once the chemical processes are perfected. Eventually, industrial processes will remove more carbon than they emit. They will also be powered by renewable energies. Cities and industries will get greener when the materials used to build and make things are carbon negative. They will remove tons of carbon during construction and manufacturing periods. This will form steady microclimates over cities and industrial zones that once pollute and destroy the global environment. Overgrowing cities have been contributing to climate change and environmental degradation more than any other area for centuries. In due course, these unsustainable zones, where most people live and consume products, could become very regenerative, environmentally benign, green and sustainable eco-villages and perhaps eco-cities. Humanity has to remodel the economic and social systems like they live on Mars now, because the Earth is turning into a Mars-like desert sphere rapidly. The new technologies and systems invented during this time will be scaled up universally to terraform and breathe life into many new worlds like Mars, instead of destroying all life and resources of the precious Earth. The Earth has to re-emerge as the most ecologically rich sphere to revive other worlds in this solar system and afar. All industries and cities will follow this new path universally. They will land on Mars and moons, not to extract resources, but to create new ecosystems, biohabitats, where humans and other organisms can live and thrive. Rather than utilizing technologies and industries that overuse and misuse most of the resources that are extremely fragile and finite, nature's regenerative processes, species, and organisms can be employed to build thriving, productive ecosystems. Many species that were going extinct as a result of deforestation, environmental decline will be reintroduced back into many regions to carry out their mission of environmental restoration. This effective strategy can be applied to cities and anywhere on Earth. Though biodiversity always restores and enriches the environment, as well as natural resources, enhances microclimates that reduce the impact of climate change and other issues. Technological improvements and inventions are required to create a stable climate globally, yet natural solutions have been proven to be more effective against all the global issues in any field. Nature, when it's designed properly, has the power to breathe life into anything. It's a biological machine that's been evolving in the combination of many organisms for millions of years. It works better than all technologies. For this reason, it's better to make the industrial world more natural than technological and industrial than it is. Industrial growth is the wrong path for the economy to grow. It can grow better by enhancing nature in every way possible. People don't actually need that many products to live sufficient, fulfilled lives. People are happier and more satisfied when they're in tune with nature, in cities, in their homes, in their workplace, on the streets, in play areas, in parks, and anywhere else. Oceans can take in more carbon than forests and plants. Marine and coastal ecosystems in oceans like seagrasses, tidal marshes, mangroves, and other marine habitats take in carbon into their roots and store them in sediments below. More coastal ecosystems like these must be restored and grown to sequester more carbon and revive these once thriving ecosystems. Ecotourism can bring in more revenue to many countries if they can transform their lands into ecological wonderlands. Some countries were able to reverse the damage and pollution caused in a short time. So many people visit them to see and experience their ecologically rich areas that are shrinking around the world. They still have a robust and technologically adequate infrastructure. Ecotourism brings more revenue than all other sectors. This can be the path to follow by all nations. Every state can be remodeled after the richest parks and forests. Even in desert regions, there can be a rich ecology, and regenerative agriculture and green manufacturing can operate inside designated areas and facilities. Vertical farming is getting to be more high-tech than many other sectors. Agriculture, growing plants, reforestation, green cities can be more technologically advanced than other sectors, as well as more ecologically thriving. Oceans cover most of the Earth, thus they can be employed to so much carbon easier than other systems. By restoring marine ecosystems and preventing overfishing and destruction of marine habitats, oceans can remove more carbon than all forests combined. Soon, space telescopes will detect new worlds and moons in different star systems, probably suitable for terraforming. Of course, these endeavors will be established here in this solar system first, beginning with the Earth. The Earth is in an environmental downfall. It must be restored and preserved as a biological library to be able to introduce life into other spheres and star systems. Some master gardeners believe that the Earth can gain more forests than it's been losing if speciation is scaled up globally. It's a system for forming new species that will become new forests that are more productive and favor humankind and the environment altogether. This is called speciation. Everything is changing all the time. Nature is changing as well. It's not a constant entity encompassing the Earth. It changes seasonally and with the impact of human population. By constituting many new species that will benefit humans, animals, the soils, and the environment, many new forests that will swallow cities and surpass industrial processes can be developed. Technologies will be made this way by growing new forests instead of destructive mining and resource extraction practices. Feedstock and minerals used for technologies will be growing with species that were either genetically enhanced or selected. Microbial activity must be invigorated, like enriched forest soils. This activity enhances the nutrient storage and benefits that are essential to all life forms. Traditional farming had been degrading the soils and killing all the microbial and other life forms. In the future, every industry has to grow very rich forests consist of many species to produce all the feedstock and materials required. Without this, most of the world will be depleted. There won't be enough to get by for all nations. Most of the buildings will be designed as vertical forests where people can work, interact, learn, grow, live and produce anything with the resources that are grown nearby. There won't be a need to transport tons of goods long distances. New cities will grow most of the things they need. They will basically be self-sufficient forest farms empowered by green energy, manufacturing. Most of the natural solutions to climate change work better than technological ones. Of course, a good level of technology is required to fully resolve this threat. Soil microbes and fungi are essential to well-being and productivity of all life forms in cropland. Most areas around the world had been degraded due to extensive farming, overgrown cities, roads, industrial zones and so forth. This has to change. People have to restore the previous ecosystem that existed there, including rivers, lakes, ponds, forests and all others. Vertical farms inside so many buildings as big as large cities can soak in so much carbon and convert it into useful supplies. Carbon from the air is absorbed with photosynthesis. This process can be used to capture most of the carbon that caused climate change. Of course, there isn't enough land for this, so vertical farms can capture more carbon while producing feed. Eventually, they will be able to produce high-grade and high-tech materials like graphene to make new technologies. It may be difficult to grow anything in deserts, yet high-tech vertical farms can produce many things and can be powered by renewable energy like solar. Vertical farms are energy-intensive, but they can reduce their energy usage by incorporating channels that direct sunlight to shine over crops. Sunlight can power very large solar farms to power vertical farms. It can also be channeled with fiber optics or other innovative methods like mirrored ceiling bulbs. There is unused and abandoned space in many urban areas that can be utilized for vertical farming. Some companies already use plants to make most of their products. They developed manufacturing systems that only use plant-based materials. Perhaps, vertical farming can supply plant-based industries and manufacturing indoors, just like growing a variety of plants. By boosting biodiversity, rather than killing it, cities and industries will get to be more productive and environmentally benign. An incredible amount of carbon can be captured from the atmosphere if most of the products are made with plant-based materials derived from eco-rich polycultures designed to enhance nature. Most of the carbon from the air can easily turn into biomass to be used for all kinds of things, even for industrial processes. Some ancient civilizations had been growing very dense and rich forests consist of the most used, eaten and beneficial species. They were able to grow the richest and largest rainforests. There are many civilizations lost in them. Apparently, some rainforests are man-made food forests. This means that humans can plant very rich rainforests that are completely self-sufficient, with the ability to condense moisture in the air as rainfall and create water flow to nurture themselves consistently. Renewable energy and forest productions will be combined to create the most sustainable cities and sectors ever imagined. They will have canopies of growth and yields. New technologies like mechanical trees are already developed to remove carbon with catalysts that bind to carbon dioxide. They can remove more carbon than normal trees. This carbon can be used to make industrial-grade materials. Captured carbon dioxide can be refined into carbon-neutral biofuels. Most trees take in about 3 to 6 grams of carbon dioxide a day. Mechanical trees can soak in about 83 kilograms a day. This is a pretty big difference. A forest of mechanical trees can do a better job than ordinary forests in removing carbon from the atmosphere. Mechanical trees use less energy than direct air capture systems. They can be easily powered by solar and wind. Solar trees generate energy and water from the air. When these two technologies are combined, solar trees can generate energy, water, also capture carbon from the air continuously. They can be one of the best technologies to deploy at a mass scale. Some cities already have solar trees. Solar water generation is going to be one of the best systems to produce water from air moisture. Cities consume so much water and energy, they also emit too much carbon dioxide. Solar trees designed to capture carbon and generate water can make cities more sustainable. These technologies can be integrated into buildings for higher production. Captured carbon will be used to make so many things one day. It's a very versatile element that can be processed and combined with other elements to manufacture many things. Biofuels made with captured carbon can be carbon neutral. They release the same amount of carbon when it was captured. Algae will play a significant role for production, carbon capture, biofuels and to make regenerative technologies that improve the environment. Algae grow so fast, A lot faster than other plants, it soaks in more carbon to provide many chemicals for industrial usage. Algae can be used to make so many things. Large algae ponds capture more carbon than technological solutions. For this reason, it might be more feasible to invest in natural solutions, since they can actually capture more carbon, also provide a great amount of resources for every industry. Algae biofuels are carbon neutral. A variety of algae is very nutritious as food and feedstock. Algae bioreactors are being installed in many places to remove pollutants and purify the air. Buildings are being designed with algae panels that capture carbon and provide fuels and other resources for the community. Biofuels are used to generate electricity. Other substances are used to make industrial-grade chemicals and materials. Bioplastics can be made from algae. Algae grows so fast in large ponds to provide the substances to make bioplastics, biofuels and so many other things. It can be a good substitute for traditional plastics that cause pollution. Bioplastics can be designed to decompose in a short time. Some of them can get composted. Eventually, bioplastics that decompose in a short time will replace traditional plastics and packaging. Plastics had been polluting the environment and oceans for decades. They must be replaced with eco-friendly alternatives as soon as possible. Algae bioplastics can be a good substitute. There are also plant-based, sugar-based plastics and packaging. The processing of them will improve with more research and testing. They can be combined with other materials to be as good and durable as common plastics. Algae oils are very similar to crude oil. They're mostly carbon. This is proof that plant-based alternatives can replace fossil fuels sooner or later. Captured carbon or plant-based materials can be processed to make graphene and other carbon allotropes that can be utilized for microchip and electronics manufacturing. With great research and development, these new chips and components will be faster and more efficient. Life forms operate with bioelectricity. Nervous systems consist of so many neurons that transmit information with chemicals and electricity. Technology can be more efficient, self-healing and intelligent when it's designed with organic materials that can transfer electricity like in biology. With this achievement, technology and biology will merge to create new organic and biological technologies to achieve any goal, without harming the environment. Everything can be made with organic substances derived from plants. Technology will harness this highly evolved mechanism of nature for more efficient, smarter, living electronics, biorobots that can cleanse the planet and the air, also produce organic resources. New technologies, solutions, systems, infrastructure are being developed with the dedication of many scientists, engineers, and companies to tackle climatic and environmental issues. These new technologies will be able to improve by time, and they will re-terraform the Earth to terraform and regenerate many worlds in this solar system and afar. That's why this is the most critical time in human history. Climate change has shown that the planet is in grave danger. It must be reversed or stabilized by any means necessary. Natural resources are depleting extremely fast. They must be restored naturally, technologically, with new solutions and with the cooperation of the entire world. Differences, animosities must be discarded to unite the human society to act upon the biggest issues that will determine the future of the planet and humankind. Tons of new technologies and systems are in development at this time. This is just the beginning. Obviously, these new breakthroughs will bring greater good than anything imaginable or ever experienced. There is so much carbon on Mars, perhaps in many other worlds. It can be combined with other elements to manufacture anything in space. Plants were grown in space. They can be employed to breathe life back into any world. Other organisms would come after. The microbial activity in the soil must be very rich. This activity supports all life forms and regenerates the environment. Very barren lands were restored as rich and prolific forest ecosystems by master gardeners. Sometimes, you don't need too much technology to achieve a goal. Natural water generation with forests and ecosystems can work better than technological water generation that condenses air moisture into droplets. By creating the correct forest ecosystems in the right places, rivers can be generated without technology. All kinds of plants can be genetically engineered and altered to produce the right results, which is more carbon sequestration, more productivity, faster growth and other improvements. New forest farms can be created with genetically enhanced species of plants and trees. These new regions integrating this diversity of bioengineered species can be a buffer for climate change, as well as produce higher yields. Buffer zones can restore natural water generation as flowing rivers. New cities will incorporate the greatest climate technologies and solutions to emerge as buffer zones and sponges. They will absorb more carbon than they emit, enhance the surrounding environment and forest cover, rather than clearing it for construction. Once pristine ecosystems, rivers, forests were displaced by roads, highways, buildings, gray infrastructure in many cities. They can be restored by removing most of them, right in the heart of the city. This will upgrade cities' sustainability and environmental friendliness. The diversity of species always improve the environment and can create new ecosystems that are more resilient with the capability to sequester more carbon than other areas. Therefore, the diversity of species must be greater in regions that are getting drier every year. By introducing greater biodiversity, these dry areas can be redeemed. Their natural cycles will come back, rainfall will be more often. In a sense, the Earth is required to be re-terraformed with great biodiversity that will restore every region into its most stable and abundant phase. One day, the rivers may run dry, all the water reservoirs may desiccate. Large-scale solar farms and batteries can generate pure water from the air to create new rivers, so freshwater reserves are secured. Without this, there won't be a way to generate enough water. The planet must be restored to its most pristine form to continue to generate fresh water naturally. If this doesn't work, other solutions and technologies must be deployed globally. There is so much carbon dioxide piled up in the atmosphere that can be captured to make CO2 batteries. This new battery system compresses CO2 to store energy. It's made of abundant materials like steel, CO2 and water. It's very efficient in storing energy for the grid. It can be deployed anywhere easily. CO2 batteries can solve the energy storage issue for the power grids worldwide. This technology works in room temperature, unlike cryogenic batteries. Solar and wind farms can store the excess energy in CO2 batteries that can supply energy during low-point hours. Carbon capture and storage will get cheaper by time. CO2 from the atmosphere can go into CO2 batteries that support the global grid. All the energy and climate technologies must be deployed worldwide to make a difference in climate and global environment. Hence, they must be affordable, made of abundant materials, generate enough energy and get stored effectively. Everything requires energy to operate, so the energy and material sectors are going to be where the innovation is. Lithium-ion batteries require rare earth metals like nickel and cobalt. CO2 batteries don't require any rare earths at all. They can be better for the utility grids to store energy from renewables. When carbon dioxide capture is in full operation and improved to be more efficient and compact, CO2 batteries can be installed in buildings, cities, residential and commercial complexes and anywhere in the world easily. CO2 in large tanks are compressed and condensed into liquid carbon dioxide for storage. During discharge, liquid CO2 evaporates and powers the turbine generating electricity. The turbine's exhaust fills a dome with gaseous CO2 at ambient temperatures and pressures, returning the battery to its initial state. Carbon dioxide can be compressed into a liquid at ambient temperatures, unlike cryogenic storage units that require very low temperatures. CO2 batteries won't ever require rare earth metals that cause supply chain issues. Using CO2 from the atmosphere for energy storage is going to be one of the best climate technologies. It hits two targets at the same time: removal of CO2 and energy storage. Perhaps, they can be designed to remove CO2 into large tanks, then power turbines with compressed liquid CO2 all in one storage unit. Every city and industrial zone can make use of these new battery systems that are more environmentally friendly than any others. The same system can be so compact to constantly compress and liquefy CO2 as an energy storage and generation unit. After that, it can be used in more compact and smaller applications like housing, transportation, facilities, manufacturing. With artificial photosynthesis, more carbon can be removed from the atmosphere than plants do. Chemicals used for many applications can be produced by converting and synthesizing captured carbon with artificial photosynthesis. This field will get better with greater research and experimenting. Many types of foods can be produced without farming, which consumes too much water and takes up very large tracts of land. Currently, acetate used to make many things is produced with artificial photosynthesis. New applications of artificial photosynthesis don't require sunlight or any other lighting. Chemicals and substances are produced in complete darkness. Acetate is fed to plants for them to grow in complete darkness. If crops are grown inside dark rooms without sunlight or lighting, energy usage will decrease significantly. Foods can be made without needing sunlight, lead lighting, fertilizers, soils, land and any farming practices. Basically, a lot of industrial-grade chemicals derived from plants, foods and other substances can be made with artificial photosynthesis more efficiently. Bacteria are utilized to produce acetate that's used to generate large amounts of biomass with less resources. Making of plant-based materials may not require farming one day. Artificial photosynthesis systems can provide the best and most eco-friendly substitutes to materials used today. If artificial photosynthesis systems are scaled up, they remove more carbon than current carbon capture systems, probably more than all forests. That's because a lot of things can be made this way. Carbon can be synthesized with many elements to mass produce useful chemicals and organic matter. Many things will be made this way in the future. Most of the carbon conversion systems are in development stage. They will become a reality one day. Skin-tight clothing will generate enough energy from movement to power personal devices like smartphones. Clothing will be smart. They will follow commands, generate energy in different ways like body motion, sweat, temperature change, sunlight, and other ambient sources altogether. They are going to have embedded electronics to make them smarter and generate the energy needed for personal electronics, so they don't have to be plugged in. Personal electronics can be charged up with smart clothing day and night. Human body can generate enough energy to recharge electronic devices. Smart clothing will be like smartphones. They will be able to complete many tasks. Most of the devices won't require plugging to recharge. Smart energy clothing will provide the charge. When human body generates enough energy for many devices, it will be like the most efficient battery system. This new technology can be one of the best and most useful climate solutions. When people themselves become batteries to power their devices, there won't be a need to plug in. Solar charging can't be as efficient and perpetual like energy from human body. Clothing will have many applications, just like smartphones. It will be like superpowers when people wear clothing that generate energy, offer many versatile applications that can perform many tasks. The smartphone era may be over, with smart, generative clothing that can cover the entire human body as a bodysuit. Scientists are working on fabric that generate energy in many ways, as well as solar and ambient light altogether. All of them combined can generate enough energy for smart clothing that are as useful and innovative as smart devices. It's annoying to plug in devices to charge every day. One day, they can recharge wirelessly via energy-generating clothing. Perhaps, there won't be a need for lithium or other types of batteries. Any type of device can be powered by energy-generating bodysuits one day. Batteries, plugging to outlets, will be useless when people are the batteries and the main energy source themselves. Clothing will be able to warm or cool the human body. Ambient temperatures will generate energy thermally as well. Thermal devices are capable of generating electricity. Human body has a constant temperature that can generate a lot of energy with thermal fabrics. This new field can be more innovative than smart devices sector, because smart clothing would be able to generate its own energy without batteries or plugging. With this new technology, any surface, wall, roof, road, machinery will be able to generate so much energy to power buildings, homes, offices, to transmit energy wirelessly and so on. Solar nanoparticles can be tailored into clothing, walls, roofs, surfaces to generate energy. Moreover, energy from thermal can be incorporated into surfaces for free energy from ambience. Energy will be free one day. Every surface and device will generate its own energy from various sources. These new technologies can be used to make energy and water generating, carbon capture trees that can be installed anywhere, in every city. Solar trees are more efficient in energy generation than panels, because their leaf-like panels extend to cover a larger area than traditional solar panels. They can be designed to produce water from air moisture. Just solar itself isn't going to supply the energy needs of society. All the climate solutions must be scaled up globally. There are many regions tormented by droughts and desertification. They cannot grow anything, nor have clean water. These regions can be regenerated with air-to-water production systems. They can grow crops and trees, eventually plant large forests and production fields with water produced from the air. People were always an energy source. They have so much potential, especially during these times of crisis. Everything people do, bodily motion, warmth, activity can generate energy with clothing woven with energy devices. This will revolutionize every sector. Companies will design products to work with clothing, instead of smartphones and other types of electronics. Humans will become the newest and most efficient battery systems. Robotics will generate energy just like other sources and people. Robots can operate with solar. This is how satellites operate in space. Robots can be programmed to assist in environmental and climatic problems that are intensifying every year. They can continually plant trees, water and take care of them. New forests can be planted by drones and robots. They can also nurture them after. Robots can generate water from air moisture and transfer this to the soil. Back in the day, animals used to assist natural growth. Forests were taking care of many animals and insects. Many new forests must be planted to create microclimates that can stabilize global climatic conditions. Robotic technology can be designed after climate and to support nature. Space colonization will be done by robots that generate energy from ambient sources, water from the air, and nutrients from the ground, air, sunlight combination. Robots can create livable habitats for people to travel in space and colonize easily. Most people wouldn't be able to survive the harsh conditions in space and on other planets. However, robots can be transported anywhere in space to construct self-sufficient and regenerative environments for people and other organisms. There is great research about superlattice structures that generate energy, also compute better than semiconductors. They can be made of atom-thick lattices like carbon or other elements. By changing the electrical charge, they can mimic elements like lithium, helium that have electron count difference. Superlattices can mimic other elements used for many industries. They can generate free energy, filter anything with adjusted cavities. Many elements used for the switch to clean energy and infrastructure can either be produced or mimicked with superlattice structures in a variety of forms. Free energy is abundant in the environment. New nanostructures and lattices will generate free energy everywhere, upgrade civilization in every way possible. After this, most of the technologies will be powered by human body, instead of an external energy source. Energy sources cause massive pollution, also they had been inducing climate change. They're unreliable and caused so many problems. The best way to generate energy might be the human body. Human body transmits electricity in its nervous system to conduct all of its operations. In fact, it works with electricity. Why can't it generate enough energy for most things that people do and for their devices that provide new features and attributes to their lives? Sooner or later, clothing that generate energy from the human body will be able to power devices wirelessly. Thereby, it won't be like the Matrix scenario by any means. Humans won't be in cells filled with liquid, attached to wires. They'll be totally free, perhaps more free than ever before because they're going to be the most efficient energy source. All the applications will improve their lives. They will have the chance to restore the planet and put an end to all the environmental and resource-related problems. With similar technologies, buildings, homes, entire cities will generate their own energy without burning anything. In the past, fire was discovered. This led to burning things like wood or oil to produce heat and energy. This era will come to an end. A new age of green innovation is on the horizon. There are so many ways to generate energy at this time. Many new ways will be discovered by dedicated research and engineering. Everything people do will generate energy for their daily activities and workflow. Nature grows with carbon. This is the proof that economy can grow by converting and synthesizing carbon to many products, fuels, and materials for green growth. Most things will be made with atmospheric carbon. Scientists invented new systems to combine carbon or carbon dioxide with other elements and substances to make new and useful things. Many regions are getting more deteriorated as a result of rising temperatures, extensive agriculture, logging, expansion of cities and industrial zones. This can be prevented by inhibiting extensive practices that damage nature. Biodiversity must return to many regions to be able to regrow them into their previous, dynamic and rich state. Without biodiversity, every ecosystem will collapse and become depleted. Large deserts, once very rich and lush landscapes, were turned into barren lands after extensive logging and farming practices. This must be prohibited worldwide. Even cities and industries that supply society can be biodiversity hubs. They can grow more than they use, to give back to nature, to recover every region and build natural and climate resilience. Most cities had only parks that are fractions of the urban and suburban developments. Now, the whole cities can be redesigned as parks that are richer and more filled with a diversity of species that are native and exotic. Cities and industries must be greener each year. Otherwise they will continue contributing to climate change and environmental degradation. Soon, they won't be able to have enough to go by, because environmental and climatic instability will bring utmost shortages. New technologies induced by climate and green innovations can reduce emission and mitigate environmental impact. Just technology won't be sufficient to transform the world into its most sustainable phase. Urban hubs can grow everything they need on site. They can educate people about how to live sustainably and how to grow a wide variety of plants. Most of the products can be plant-based in the near future. By growing a great diversity of crops as polycultures and production forests, degraded areas can be restored richer than before. If urban hubs can grow to make most of the products needed, without depending on remote productions and transport, they can manufacture almost everything, as well as invent new technologies that are made of plants. Mimicking nature and utilizing plants can bring many new technologies and production systems, just like artificial photosynthesis. Many materials and chemicals used today can be produced with artificial photosynthesis that combine and convert ambient, atmospheric elements and pollutants into useful materials and substances. Buildings will become vertical production hubs that enhance the environment around them and boost sustainability in cities. Every floor can either grow or manufacture the products needed for the surrounding population. The technologies that generate free energy from the human body can be scaled up to turn buildings, machinery, and movements into energy generators. This is how totally free energy can be generated anywhere. There is so much going on in society that can be converted into free electricity to power all kinds of applications. Concrete and asphalt and other building and construction materials used in cities and roads can soak in carbon to strengthen and repair themselves. Carbon is a naturally reinforcing element that can be harvested from the air. Construction materials can be designed to extract carbon from the air to enhance their properties, rather than breaking down, getting old and fractured. With this new technology, many elements used in making of many products and building materials can be sourced from the air and the surrounding environment without zero harm. Constructions can harvest carbon to make building materials, then these building blocks can keep harvesting carbon to regrow, repair, strengthen and to store carbon. Manufacturing and technology will rely on biology and organic processes soon. Most of the things used industrially will be grown and harvested biologically. Many organisms, bacteria, microbes can extract, convert and synthesize many of the waste elements, pollutants into useful chemicals. Some companies are already designing new buildings that incorporate sustainable farming, green manufacturing, recreation, entertainment, shopping, learning, interactivity and renewable energy all together. These new green buildings and skyscrapers will demonstrate the best of society on every floor. Interactive and multifaceted green buildings will transform cities into sustainability hubs where people learn about how to increase sustainability in every way and with the work they do. Carbon recycling enables the conversion of air carbon and other elements into versatile products like ethanol, fuels, chemicals, fabrics, materials. Some high-tech facilities already work with this process. There is no need to draw carbon from the ground that pollute the atmosphere and the environment. Air and waste carbon can be recycled into many products. Top-notch bioreactors are able to convert any type of waste, captured carbon, plastics into new products. This process generates zero carbon. It can be carbon negative by storing more carbon in a variety of valuable products. Agricultural and forestry waste can be used to make sustainable products, materials, and packaging that are high quality, recyclable, and biodegradable. Pollution is converted by bacteria to make ethanol, which can be used to make so many things: clothing, renewable fuels. By converting carbon and waste into fuels, once polluting fuels can be renewable and carbon negative. Greenhouse gases can be converted into solid form to make many things as well. Carbon dioxide and methane can turn into carbon nanofibers that can be used to make so many things, to replace many unsustainable materials used industrially. Greenhouse gases are carbonized with catalysts to turn into carbon nanofibers inside reactors. Carbon nanofibers made of greenhouse gases can be used in everything, electronics to agriculture, to vehicles. They're many times stronger, a lot lighter than stainless steel. They can enhance resistance, anti-corrosion properties of other materials and products. Metals, cement, heavy components can be replaced with this future material. Any type of waste can be converted into carbon nanoparticles that can replace anything because it has better properties and qualities. Cellulose derived of plants is a remarkable compound to make many things. It can be one of the best industrial-grade materials. It's the building block of all plant species in nature. Many alternatives to packaging, plastics, industrial components, synthetic fibers, polymers can be made from cellulose. This natural building block can be sourced from waste and agricultural leftovers. Currently, most of the products are made of fossil fuels, yet cellulose can easily replace anything made this way. Cellulose productions can sequester so much carbon, either from the air or from plants. Cellulose-based manufacturing can be scaled up globally to sequester tons of carbon. Cellulose had been used to make packaging, polymers, synthetic materials, plant-based alternatives. It can be sourced sustainably, without harming the environment. Eventually, it's going to be synthesized with other carbon-based and composite compounds to manufacture high-tech substitutes and upgrades to current technologies. Most of the technologies and machinery common today aren't manufactured with renewable materials, nor are sustainably by any means. Manufacturing sectors emit so much carbon, also overuse non-renewable resources, pollute the water streams. This can be prevented by switching to plant-based manufacturing from cellulose and other alternatives. Cellulose consists of chains of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Carbon can be combined with other elements to form more sustainable, versatile and robust materials for every sector. Cellulose-based manufacturing will be more common soon. Plant-based materials can capture tons of carbon to provide cellulose for green manufacturing. Sustainable manufacturing can be done in cities, instead of factories that pollute the environment and waterways. Eventually, factories will be replaced with green manufacturing facilities that harness the power of plants, air carbon, cellulose, lignin, recycling, and other elements that once caused pollution. With green manufacturing, pollutants that once were harmful will be feedstock to make many things. Many new green cities will emerge. People will move out of overgrown megacities to build new cities and eco-villages made of renewable and sustainable resources. Construction and manufacturing. Building of cities and products will sequester and soak in carbon to combine with other elements. Consequently, they will be more durable, versatile, eco-friendly and climate-positive than traditional materials used today. 3D printing won't be just used to make rubber and plastic models or cement homes. It can be formulated to manufacture anything with sustainable materials, like a factory. Many of the carbon storing and plant-based materials can be used to 3D print all kinds of products, substitutes to most common but not environmentally benign products. Most advanced technologies are going to be made of the most sustainable practices and manufacturing systems. Otherwise, they would undermine the planet's climate, finite resources and other fragile ecosystems. Every industry and technology has to be extremely sustainable to be feasible. Many new technologies will be developed and are in development to deal with the climate, environmental issues and resource instability. Chains of carbon structures are very versatile and can be useful for electronics manufacturing in the future. Air carbon and other elements can be processed into silicon-based or graphene electronics and microchips. Carbon has been proven to enhance the properties of tech components. It can be combined with silicon that's been used for computers and electronics. It can be sourced from the air, also has the ability to make batteries more efficient and durable. Plant-based materials like lignin has the capability to improve battery systems and many manufactured products and components. Plants have been drawing carbon from the air to turn it into very durable and versatile substances like lignin. Materials like this will revolutionize every sector. Eventually, manufacturing will completely plant, bacteria and microbe-based. The organisms in nature had learned how to make things without harming, in fact improving, the environment and conditions around them. This will be copied in the production sectors here on out. Metal organic frameworks will play a great role, and their structures will get better with great research and testing. With metal organic frameworks, any gas, liquid can be separated into its main elements. Carbon in the air can be separated and stored with metal organic frameworks attached to gas pipes, flue gas and into carbon capture fans. Lithium demand is growing very fast. Metal organic frameworks can separate the lithium from brine and salty ponds, eventually from seawater. There is so much salt in the oceans, and some of it is lithium. It can be separated to supply the demand with well-designed metal organic frameworks that can filter out anything most efficiently. Brine causes contamination in the seas and oceans. It has many valuable minerals that can be separated with metal organic frameworks that can filter out the brine from desalination plants. MOFs have tiny gaps that can let the desired molecule to pass through, but divides others. This novel filter can do miracles in many sectors. Every sector is required to clear out its emissions, waste, polluting sources altogether. New frameworks can accomplish this goal easily. With these new frameworks that are designed to filter anything, polluting industries and sources could be purified to achieve climate and environmental goals in a short time. Well-designed and tested frameworks will be able to separate greenhouse gases from any source and industry into their main elements like carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, which are very valuable. Hydrogen can be sourced from greenhouse gases. Its demand is skyrocketing as a green energy source. There is so much hydrogen in greenhouse gases that can be captured and stored with new filters made of covalent organic and metal organic frameworks. They're very new technology that has so much promise to achieve climate goals. Wastewater can be a valuable source of minerals and metals as well. It contains nitrogen, phosphorus, gold, lithium, cobalt, and all kinds of other metals. Wastewater can be filtered out. All the metals and minerals can be obtained with new types of filters and frameworks. Some battery materials exist in wastewater. This indicates that it can be filtered to gather the metals used for battery manufacturing. It's basically a substantially rich soup of valuable and useful elements. This also implies that all kinds of waste can be used and recycled into many new products. Fossil fuels are used to make so many products and as used as the main energy source for centuries. Fossil fuels are made of chains of carbon and hydrogen. These elements are abundant in the air, in the water. A catalyst can break apart the carbon from the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Hydrogen can be separated from oxygen in water. All of these can be reformed to make hydrocarbons. The greenhouse gases can be recycled as new fuels and substances used to make many products. Thorium reactors can be more efficient, affordable and low-cost than all energy sources and nuclear reactors. Thorium is abundant in Earth's crust. A little thorium can power any city for a long time. It's cheaper to build thorium reactors than traditional nuclear reactors that generate radioactive waste. No greenhouse gases are emitted in nuclear reactors, yet they're very expensive to build and generate radioactive waste. The waste from thorium reactors is a lot less and less harmful. Thorium reactors can replace traditional nuclear reactors. Even modular reactors to power any site, city, any operation can be built very affordably with thorium. Thorium reactors can desalinate water as well. Desalination of salty water is necessary to produce enough water in many countries. Thorium reactors can desalinate water and provide so much energy altogether. New energy sources, like this, can be the best energy and climate solutions. Water from air condensation devices are in development, but they don't produce enough water for many people. Thorium can be one of the best solutions for water and energy security. Eventually, modular reactors can power cities of any size, any type of craft that requires high efficiency like gas turbines. A new type of reactor is in development. It's called liquid fluoride thorium reactor. It tends to work better and require less fuel than other reactors. Sooner or later, radioactive waste can be converted into nuclear diamond batteries. This is in development stage at this time. Nuclear diamond batteries will generate more energy and can be used to power electronics one day. Lithium has better energy density than all other battery structures, yet its mining and processing is harmful to the environment. Lithium can be replaced with new battery systems, while radioactive waste is converted into diamond batteries with greater research and testing. Nuclear can generate so much more energy than other sources. Thorium reactors will get better and more common soon. Thorium reactors can be more environmentally friendly and provide more energy than renewables. Manufacturing renewable energy devices require a tremendous amount of rare earth metals. Their mining and processing is harmful to the environment. Manufacturing of renewables like solar panels is a very toxic process. It requires many toxic chemicals to manufacture renewable energy devices. Thorium reactors don't require toxic chemicals or rare earth metals to build. Molten salt is used in thorium reactors. Fluoride salt becomes a liquid in high temperatures, turning into molten salt that transfer the energy from the heat source to a heat exchanger to run a turbine. This process generates a lot of electricity, and it works better than renewables. Thorium reactors are a lot safer. During meltdowns, the fuel and the molten salt drains down and becomes solid salt trapped in a chamber. This never causes explosions, disasters or any other accidents that occur in traditional nuclear reactors. Zero CO2 is emitted from thorium reactors. It can be a good solution to energy problems. Most energy sources, even renewables, emit too much CO2, one during usage, the other during manufacturing. With enough thorium reactors, most of the operations can run smoothly and there would be zero emissions in many sectors. These efficient reactors can be used to run many carbon capture, conversion, and utilization facilities worldwide. This way, carbon can be extracted as a resource from the air to make many new products. With all the climate technologies combined, new worlds can be colonized and hopefully terraformed one day. This is how societies evolve in the universe. They all come to a point to either protect their homeworld or deal with the consequences. The world is changing very fast. After some time, there won't be enough to get by. This would lead to greater instability and alien interventions. The aliens are only here to take advantage of a confused, conflicted, weakening mankind. Humans can regenerate and restore every region into its most sustainable and abundant phase with climate technologies, energy sources, solutions that can be scaled up anywhere. Best solutions will be useful here on Earth and off space, in places like Mars, Moon and worlds with similar composition to the Earth. The elements in the air can be captured like plants do with photosynthesis to make many products through chemical synthesis. This will bring many new, sustainable productions and even technologies to society. This can upgrade human society as we know of. Sustainability and planetary restoration is more important than technology. Technology is just a tool. It will never resolve all the problems and instability. Resources must be shared equally to restore the planet and create unified stability. Many new systems of converting pollutants, toxic elements and greenhouse gases into useful materials and products are under development. With this new industry plan to tackle climatic issues, humanity will unravel a totally new future of sustainability. The good thing is all of these can be used for space colonization. There may be so many alien worlds like Mars that can be colonized and eventually terraformed. Climate technologies and breakthroughs will play a great role in this venture. There is evidence that there are so many depleted or desert alien worlds in the universe. They can be revived, regenerated, recreated with the newest techniques from the Earth. Some of these will be developed to deal with climatic and environmental concerns. If humanity unites for a higher purpose, they can create a new universe. The old universe is a barren expanse. A totally new, more alive, regenerative, biological universe must be created with the processes emerging at this time from the Earth. Every sector will change to adapt to coming changes. The planet's climate, environment, natural resources are changing extremely fast. This may lead to total depleting in less than a century, while there are many alien races and groups in this solar system and on Earth with sinister plans. A lot of things, even batteries, can be totally 3D printed soon. With efficient 3D printing, more energy-dense batteries can be manufactured. Green energy and storage are essential to the new society seeking to protect and restore its home world. More efficient, easy-to-manufacture plastic batteries will be able to excel lithium-ion one day. They can be fully recycled and require no toxic or rare minerals. Engineered polymers can share electrons to store energy. New battery systems are being developed to store all the energy from renewable sources. This will make it easier to switch to renewable energy worldwide. Batteries are needed for everything. Grid-scale batteries can include plastic batteries and other batteries made of abundant materials. Batteries can recharge themselves with ambient sources one day. There are already devices that can do this. Ambient lighting and solar is integrated into personal electronics that can self-charge without plugging. Batteries will be able to charge themselves with ambient lighting one day. Human body is also a great energy source. It can generate more energy than there is in personal electronics, like smartphones. This energy can be harvested with bodysuits to charge all kinds of devices that will improve the lives of every human being without requiring an external energy source. Climate innovations will bring many new space technologies as well. What can be used to tackle climate issues can be scaled up universally. That's why, this is the most important sector ever existed, that must be researched and progressed universally. It's obvious many planets have undergone environmental and atmospheric changes in the universe. Some of them became totally depleted, barren spheres. The Earth should never end up like this. It's a biodiversity hub that can revive dying star systems. By creating many habitats and ecosystems to stabilize the climate and support biodiversity, the Earth can reach its most lively, thriving state. It's not just technology. Biological solutions work better for climate, to clean up pollution, to build more sustainable productions. Now, scientists and researchers know that they can create anything by taking and combining gases and elements from the atmosphere and the environment, just like plants do. There is no end to this process. It's viable for many industries. Living buildings will reform cities. They will produce energy and resources for the population by removing pollutants, CO2, and combining it with sunlight, nitrogen, hydrogen. Vertical farming is the beginning of this new sector. Cities and buildings will be living structures that cleanse their surroundings and provide many products. Carbon can be used to make many technologies. It can be printed to create microchips on any surface. Eventually, air carbon can be taken to print very efficient microprocessors and turn any surface material into a smart device. It will be easier to build batteries, computers, chips this way. There is so much ambient and waste carbon that can be converted into technology with proper processes. Carbon can form lattices that are very good conductors. These engineered lattices can constitute technological devices, because technology works with electrical conduction. Other elements like boron can be used to formulate lattice structures that are very good conductors. Carbon is good because there is so much of it in the atmosphere, and all of this can be used to make technological breakthroughs now. Fossil fuels that are used as the main energy source for centuries are actually hydrocarbons. They comprise chains of carbon, hydrogen molecules, which can be made from captured carbon and hydrogen from the air and water. The two elements from the air and water can be combined to make hydrocarbons that will be carbon neutral. This isn't adequate to reach net zero, so it's better to produce fuels that can be carbon negative. Some companies already converted captured carbon dioxide from the air to fuels. This process can be completely carbon negative, storing more carbon than emitted. Enough fuel can be produced for space colonies on Mars, other planets and moons with carbon synthesis. When there is enough energy to run all operations, there will be enough biological resources like plants and crops to create livable ecosystems off space. Space is a very harsh environment. It requires more resources and energy to operate in space, but ambient sources like atmospheric composition of gases, surface minerals, underground aquifers, ice poles, sand, dirt, clay can be collected to make all kinds of things. There is so much in other planets because they're cold. Water exists in their poles as ice shelves or locked underground levels. Water is the greatest resource for everything. It can be split into hydrogen and oxygen with electrolysis as well. Hydrogen is a good clean energy source. Oxygen is needed for people to breathe. Both of these might exist abundantly trapped in various forms of ice shelves. Scientists are working on splitting seawater with new catalysts to generate enough hydrogen to power the globe. There is actually enough minerals and energy in seawater to power all operations and build all batteries. The hard part is to split and collect them properly for industrial usage. With new nanocatalysts, it's possible to extract all the elements and their purity from seawater. Nanoscale catalysts can be engineered to let only the desired molecule to pass through for collection. There may be more lithium in seawater than in all mining reserves. Nanocatalysts can be engineered to capture and collect any element from the air, from seawater, wastewater, brine, among others. There is so much useful minerals and elements even in wastewater that pollute the waterways and oceans. Biological frameworks that make the Earth habitable and filled with many life forms, forests, rivers, lush ecosystems must improve before they collapse into extinction. Many regions have been suffering mass extinction events. Biological structures nurture the lands, enrich the soils, and create fresh water naturally. For this reason, one of the best things to do is to reintroduce many species back into their native habitats. While the population and industrialization grew rapidly, humans have expelled many species out of their native habitats. After some time, these lands couldn't regenerate and wound up wastelands. Every species play a role in the ecosystem. Most of the time, the more biodiversity the better. By introducing biodiversity, many areas can be restored into their abundant state. Many new productions and technologies will be developed by mimicking natural processes and organisms. Artificial photosynthesis is one of them. Now, it's possible to create a lot of things out of captured and combined elements from the air and ambience. Various catalysts can take what's needed to synthesize all kinds of materials, fuels, and products. Science has proven that more trees equals more rain. Of course, it takes a little time for trees to start condensing rainfall to precipitate. Some reforestation projects in dry areas have failed because they weren't watered after planted. Plants know how to condense the air moisture into clouds to fall as precipitation. The planet is getting drier every year. What plants have been doing can be scaled up globally. This can be done with natural solutions to climate change or technological air condensation systems to restore the lands. Instead of monocultures that degrade the soils and vast tracts of land, polycultures that mimic native forests and ecosystems can be grown to restore and enrich the soil. After that, they will be able to form canopies of vegetation that have the capability of creating rainfall progressively. Cities can implement this and revise their old and gray infrastructures. They can be more like sponges that prevent flooding, filled with healthy, water and vegetation-rich biomes. People live with trees. Without them everything dies on Earth. Every life form depends on them for their survival. They manage and configure all types of ecosystems. Natural solutions will always be better than technology in resolving global issues and climate problems. Seaweed can be used as a fabric to make clothing. It can also be used to make so many other things, while removing tons of carbon from the atmosphere. The waste goes back into the sea to be broken down by microorganisms. It's a circular method of production. Substances from seaweed are combined with other biopolymers to process textiles. Many new products will be made of these renewable and eco-friendly materials like seaweed. Substances from plants like seaweed, algae, and others can be combined to be used for 3D printing. With proper synthesis of substances, very durable and recyclable 3D printing filaments can be produced. A lot of things will be 3D printed one day. Large seaweed farms over the oceans can produce enough materials to make many industries very sustainable and renewable. Plants grow by storing carbon as sugars and building blocks in their cells. The same way, new cement and concrete alternatives can be grown to replace traditional concrete that's carbon intensive. Many building materials are already being made of plants. Some of them are more lightweight, durable and versatile than traditional building materials. Carbon dioxide from the air is being collected by innovative companies and processed into all kinds of products with water and electricity. Electrolyzers transform the CO2 into synthesis gas, a mix of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, that can be made into a range of products, usually made of fossil fuels. This is a new way to move carbon into the global economy without pulling it out of the ground. Jet fuel is produced by electrolyzing CO2. Plastics, foam, carbon fiber, clothing, foods are being made using the CO2 that's excess in the air. With carbon, so many things can be made. It's the building block of all living organisms. Captured CO2 can be used to carbonate drinks, create fuels and run operations in many businesses. There are a lot of companies that generate so much CO2 because their operations are energy intensive. Now, they will be able to capture it to make new products, fuels, plastics, foods and many other things that will be developed soon. Opportunities are endless with this approach to carbon conversion and utilization. Most planets' atmosphere contains so much carbon, like Mars and Titan. One day, humans can travel to Titan, which is a Saturn's moon, to create all kinds of resources from methane and other elements in the atmosphere to establish self-sufficient colonies. If this operation appears to be feasible, the opportunities will be endless in space. Everything that's needed, tons of energy, can be made by combining the atmospheric elements and gases on any planet. Once there is enough energy, food, resources, building materials made of the air, it will be easier to assemble and create livable environments and colonies in space. In a sense, the Earth must be re-terraformed to be able to colonize and terraform other worlds like Mars, which is probably similar to many alien worlds. Sooner or later, gadgets, transport crafts, computers, phones will be living organisms that can heal and evolve, just like other organisms do. They will be able to grow and repair themselves like plants do, with the nutrients and gases they absorb from the environment. There are so many minerals inside the soil, most mining operations cannot purify and collect them. With intelligent metal organic frameworks, Any mineral and element can be collected efficiently to build intelligent, living structures and devices. Solar power is literally the most abundant energy source. It can be stored in liquid as a fuel for later use. Solar fuels are already developed by scientists and researchers. Solar fuels and industrial chemicals made of solar energy is totally renewable and can be carbon negative. Solar cell technology is improving every year. Soon, solar cells will be able to generate energy with ambient lighting and even generate energy at night. Any surface can generate so much energy with solar films. Solar films are already in the market. Some electronic devices are covered in solar films that can generate energy from any light source day and night. If light is reflected with mirrors, solar farms can still produce a certain amount of energy. New solar devices convert infrared heat to electrical power. The sun is the heat source, the earth is the cold absorber. With thermodynamics, temperature difference can generate energy by converting infrared radiation to electricity. This can be integrated to solar panels, buildings, and facilities to generate energy at night. Thermoelectric devices have a great promise. They can produce electricity from waste heat that's emanated from engines, power plants, buildings, manufacturers, and all other heat sources. There is so much waste heat being emanated in every industry and city that can be captured as extra energy at the source with thermoelectrical devices that are in development. Thermoelectrical devices embedded or attached to solar panels can remove the excess heat that harm the solar cells and generate a lot of energy. Solar panels can be designed to produce electricity with heat as much as with sunlight. Heat is a great energy source. There is so much of it in the atmosphere as a heat wave and emanated from surfaces. Sunlight and waste heat can be combined to generate more energy with solar thermoelectric panels and devices. This way, solar panels can cool down and be more efficient during hot temperatures. Silicone used to make solar panels gets degraded by high temperatures. Silicone can be cooled down by attaching it to thermal devices that continually remove the heat and convert it to electricity. Thermal and solar can be combined in one ultra-efficient device that will last longer and generate more energy than other renewable sources. Thermoelectrical devices that generate energy from emanated heat can be integrated into many aspects of society, since almost everything people do, all the operations emanate a great amount of heat. Solar panels will be very versatile and multifunctional, with improved designs that incorporate thermoelectric cells. Solar hydro panels can create water from the moisture in the air as well. Moreover, solar panels are able to create water, energy day and night. Perhaps, they can capture carbon from the air to create solar fuels with chemical synthesis one day. This field must be researched because it's significant for climate improvements. With renewable electricity, carbon dioxide can be collected from the air, combined with hydrogen to produce renewable solar fuels on site. Every building will be able to generate enough energy, remove pollutants and carbon dioxide if these systems are integrated. Green buildings are able to scrub carbon from the air with incorporated vegetation. They also produce most of their energy with various types of modular and integrated green energy devices. Wind turbines, that used to be massive, are becoming so compact to be placed on top of every building and house for extra electricity. They are able to generate more electricity than solar because they constantly turn with little wind. Green buildings that incorporate all kinds of renewable energy devices that are compact and modular will be more common in every city and neighborhood. There is so much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to create all kinds of fuels, chemicals to supply the world's demand. For this reason, all of these novel processes must be included in every industry that render provisions to the world. One day, every surface, wall, building, device will generate more energy than they use up. The rest will be transferred to the grid. Thus, the grid can have enough energy to scrub all the carbon that's causing climate catastrophes. The elements in the air will be used to make a lot of products that people use today, which are mostly made of petroleum. There is so much carbon in the universe, as well as hydrogen, nitrogen to make all kinds of things that people need. Space colonies will rely upon the elements in the atmosphere of the planets they're stationed on. When nuclear fusion is in full operation, nuclear fusion plants can be deployed to other planets and moons to engender artificial magnetic fields. Nuclear fusion can deliver all the energy that's required for the globe and space colonies of the future. Compact nuclear fusion engines can make spacecraft reach near light speed for rapid deployment to other planets and moons. Terraforming of new worlds will be feasible one day, but the Earth must be restored to its sustainable phase with natural and technological transformations. The diversity of microbes and bacteria can be utilized to produce sustainable materials, to convert carbon to useful feedstock, to create new compounds for every sector. Strains of bacteria were able to convert waste, carbon dioxide, toxic sludge to useful source materials. They work similar to metal organic frameworks used to filter a variety of sources. They can break down and synthesize a lot of kinds of waste. Metal organic frameworks are revolutionary, but there is great work to be done to make them more efficient and durable. Robots will assist humans in many projects here on Earth and off space. They can be programmed to reforest the areas in decline to build rich microclimates. When cities are green and renewable enough, they will form their own enhanced microclimates that will improve the global conditions. For this reason, every solution and project is critical. They all add something to the global environment. Robots will be able to generate the energy and fuel that they need with chemical synthesis of air elements. After that, they can operate without taking breaks to charge. They can also condense the moisture in the air and plant sapling, then water them with the water made of condensation. Robots, if they're designed and programmed with good intents to restore the world and enhance the natural environment, they can be the best associates of mankind. Robotic intelligences can improve the global environment if they're programmed with ecological stability in mind. Cities will evolve to be in harmony in nature, instead of expanding to consume and destroy more of it. It's difficult for so many people to work in protecting and improving the environment. It's not just about planting trees. There are so many things to be done to consolidate the climate and the environment altogether. Many new technologies are being developed to remove the excess carbon from the air, so it can be either stored or transformed into many products. Plastics are being made with captured elements from the air. This is the evidence that anything can be made this way. Industries must grow and use more biomass to capture carbon naturally. Agricultural waste is one of the best feedstocks. It's used to make pellets that can be burned as biomass to generate energy. Meanwhile, the carbon is being captured, stored or used. Robotic intelligence will become so advanced one day, to travel to planets inside habitable zones and introduce the biological and technological solutions from the Earth in order to pre-terraform before humans' arrival. Robots can be engineered to do anything, yet AI won't be able to improve the climate and the environment that are both in danger at this time. A new ecologically conscious, computerized, robotic intelligence can be engineered to deal with the real problems of the world. With swarms of robots that continually upgrade the natural environment and boost the sustainability of industries and cities, humans will become an advanced civilization that's destined to preserve the natural resources and the stability of the Earth. Of course, a lot of people will work in new fields of green innovation and transformation. Every new technology will be retrofitted to many buildings, offices, urban centers around the world to reach net zero faster. Net zero is an ambitious goal that can be achieved only with every solution and technology deployed worldwide. Natural resources are supposed to be regenerated in all regions, because every region affects the whole living system. Some areas can generate more energy from clean energy and transfer it to the global grid infrastructure. All the products that harm the environment and emit too much greenhouse gases during production and manufacturing can be replaced with innovative alternatives that can be made with artificial or natural photosynthesis. The diversity of species grown and used will increase in every sector. So many products and materials can be 3D printed with the molecules and compounds collected by efficient metal organic frameworks and membranes from various sources. With this new technology, any type of device, building and component will be able to self-repair themselves. They will basically collect the required elements and blend them to design the functional material. Cities, buildings and every component of society will self-heal and self-regenerate with collected molecules from the ambience. Waste can be divided into main elements to be reprocessed over and over again in a loop. A circular economy is necessary to avoid pollution. Smart materials are in development to replace the common, resource-intensive, polluting materials of every industry. Smart materials will have the capability to generate their own energy, as in clothing and in other fields. People will wear any type of clothing that will generate energy from motion, body heat, temperature fluctuations, perspiration. Smart materials will, one day, totally heal and repair themselves. They will self-replicate to repair the damage and wear, so there won't be a need to replace the entire product or device. Nanomaterials can be programmed to have smart robotic intelligence, and they can be designed to manufacture all kinds of products that generate energy, self-heal, repair, replicate, change shape and so much more. Smartphones are able to perform all kinds of applications, and smart materials will do the same one day. For instance, clothing can generate energy with human body and heat now. This is already in development. If materials can generate their own energy, they can use this to conduct all kinds of applications, just like smartphones do every day. Materials can be programmed to assist in daily activities of people, provide electricity to charge their personal devices as well. Electronics can be embedded in smart materials, so they can conduct electricity to perform tasks. Nanobots can execute tasks without requiring an external energy source. They're being used in medical fields. One day, smart materials and nanobots can combat environmental calamities, purify water. Nanotechnology can allow for self-replicating, self-assembling, intelligent systems to carry out operations. Smart glass is becoming a reality. Glass windows can also generate energy with embedded solar cells. A type of coating that's sprayed over surfaces is able to turn any surface, glass, into a solar generator. If materials and glass generate energy, they can also carry out applications like smartphones do. Smart glass and windows that generate energy will be able to display interactive applications, just like smartphones. Most organisms in nature obtain their energy for their daily tasks from the sun, so solar can provide the energy for smart materials and devices that perform tasks without input. From fitness to healthcare, to worker safety, more and more people are turning to wearables to provide real-time physiological data. Wearable devices are getting to be more popular. People love the interactivity and usability of wearables. They will be able to perform more applications to make people's lives more interactive and easier. They will generate enough energy, so they won't require batteries and recharging one day. A polymer converts mechanical stress into electricity when it's pressed, stretched or squeezed. Smart fabrics will generate enough energy to keep smartphones and wearables going. The reality of human batteries can be pretty convenient. No devices will need recharging. Human body will generate enough energy with clothing for all everyday applications. Clothing can include thermal layers to keep people warm under cold temperatures. Smart clothing will have built-in touch controls to control all applications. A wireless tag is implanted inside clothing and acts as a touchpad to control smart applications by touching and swiping. Smart clothing can include touchscreens and displays just like smartphones, so there won't be a need to carry a phone much longer. Newest smartphones can be designed as clothing that attach to body and get powered by it. This is how technology will evolve and will make human lives better. People won't need to carry smartphones that fall or break and require long time for recharging. Smart clothing can include displays and screens on the forearm, touchscreens to control all applications and services that smartphones offer today. There won't be a need to manufacture batteries for electronics and gadgets in the future. Human body can be the perfect battery to power all kinds of personal electronics and gadgets. Clothing will harvest this energy day and night, and transmit the electricity to run wearable smart devices that will excel smartphones that are so popular today. Smart clothing can keep people cool in hot months, warm in winter. Smart clothing can make people actually smarter, unlike people swiping on their phones all day. For this reason, this new technology must attract more attention from scientists and tech companies. It can be the newest renewable energy device to generate energy and offer all kinds of interactive applications. Flexible solar cells will improve in sunlight to electricity conversion, then they will make any surface, fabric, building a great energy generator. Spray-on solar cells are already in development to turn windows and glass into a generator. Billions of windows and glass panels can provide a lot of extra energy for the grid to share. Solar cars are capable of providing enough energy for a daily commute. Solar cell technology will improve to increase the energy obtained from embedded solar cells. Building-sized solar farms can probably generate so much energy in cities and support the city grids. Robots powered by solar skins can assist in environmental projects without requiring recharging and plugging. Smart robots will help in repetitive and difficult tasks in many fields. They will be programmed to recharge themselves with solar skin, evaluate the ecology of their surroundings and work in improving the conditions into a greener and more sustainable level. Robotics should be developed to enhance the urban, suburban and rural environments. All of them need great improvements to reach net zero, become greener and more productive. Smart clothing can guide people to participate in environmentally conscious projects and objectives. There is a lot to be done in every city and town. Smart clothing can instruct people to complete these tasks and get paid for it. Thus, people will partake in tasks and objectives that improve the environment and make it greener. In this way, people will be guided to do the right things for the ecological scene they're in, instead of causing any pollution and devastation. Most people and companies are big consumers. They take more than the environment can provide naturally. With smart applications, they can be coached on how to grow more, conserve more and restore more than they need and use. Some new companies have discovered how to transform greenhouse gas emissions into valuable and useful carbon nanofibers. These carbon nanofibers are so versatile, they can be used to make many things that are industrially high grade. Methane and carbon dioxide are fed into a chamber from a number of tanks. Carbon fibers are spewed out of the bioreactor that converts emission gases into high-quality product. Carbon nanofibers have exceptional mechanical, thermal, electrical, chemical capabilities. Tires, electronics, textiles, inks, concrete, electronic components, vehicles, and agriculture are a few products and sectors that use it. The raw material is cheap and easy to find from a lot of industries. Carbon nanofibers are lighter and stronger than steel. It's a class of materials that's ultra-high strength and very versatile. If most of the greenhouse gas emitted are turned into products with carbon nanofibers, there won't be any global warming much longer. Not only their special technique harvests carbon dioxide, it also takes in methane, which is a 30 times more potent gas for global warming. Greenhouse gases from landfills, biomass, natural gas reservoirs, power plants can be recycled with this new process. The new technology performs in a continuous flow mode with high rate conversion, which is similar to conventional catalytic processes. Carbon nanofibers have limitless potential. More applications are being discovered with greater research and experiments to achieve climate goals. Carbon fiber reinforced polymers are replacing metals like steel and aluminum in numerous applications with their improved mechanical, thermal, and electrical qualities. Carbon nanofibers boost rolling resistance, abrasion resistance, wet grip for improved traction in tire manufacturing. Because of their excellent thermal conductivity, carbon fibers are being utilized in electronic components like batteries, capacitors, transistors. Carbon nanofibers can absorb and store various substances with their large surface area. They have the capacity to absorb vital micronutrients and release them gradually into the soil. The strength and resistance of industrial-grade materials are improved when carbon nanofibers are infused. The new process is a catalytic cycle which converts waste streams of carbon dioxide, methane and unused energy into high-quality carbon fibers. It's produced as a superior allotropic form of carbon, which can be used to enhance the performance of products over 40 applications, such as electronics, rovers, plastics, building materials, batteries. Carbon dioxide emissions from many sources are solidified permanently into sustainable products. This reduces the reliance on mined resources, while reducing the amount of waste and emissions. Scientists are working on synthetic materials that can replace rare earth metals that are hard to mine and process. They're in high demand during this time of switch to renewable energy and green infrastructure. Well-designed synthetic materials can replace rare earths used in many industries. Most of the technologies and electrical structures require magnets made of neodymium and samarium. These are powerful magnets that are used in many technologies and electronics. Synthetic materials made of several minerals and other elements can be as efficient as strong magnets. Metal organic frameworks are made of various or more different minerals and materials. They can be very efficient in filtering out any type of gas and substance. Synthetic frameworks can mimic the properties of strong magnets and rare earth metals that are in high demand, also hard to mine and process. Anything can be made of numerous elements with similar properties. To replace the alloys consist of rare earth metals. Back in the day, a lot of things were made of various metals. Now they're made of glass, plastics, carbon fiber, ceramic, wood, rubber and so on. Synthetic materials can be as efficient and as useful as technologies that require many rare earth minerals and other substances that are hard to find. There is great research on producing tech and industrial components made of carbon sourced from carbon capture and utilization. Carbon has many forms that can be useful for electronics, electrical circuitry, microchips, transmission, and other technologies. Carbon capture and utilization will get better every year to create most of the things with carbon from the air, from emissions, and from waste. Carbon and other elements can be combined to design the most competent semiconductors, components, and parts used in tech industries. Silicon used in computers can be replaced with synthetic carbon chips. Carbon atoms are smaller and can be better at conducting electricity than silicon. There are many other synthetic alternatives are in development. Scientists and engineers will supplant the sections of many industries with new, more sustainable and synthetic substitutes. Thin monatomic films consist of several elements combined to form very powerful structures will be better in technological developments. Allotropes of carbon are great in conducting electricity and heat. Low-voltage electricity can be used for any applications which lowers the heat generated. This is good for cooling of electronic devices. Carbon electronics will be the newest industry that can upgrade all other industries to be more sustainable than ever before. They can turn their emissions and waste into carbon-based technologies and electronics. Flash carbon is a good method to turn any type of carbon-based compound into layers of carbon via high-voltage electricity. Scientists already found ways to print electrical circuits onto paper with flash carbon in a layer. They work as good as traditional electronics. These new electronic systems can be more sustainable and versatile than current electronic devices made of many rare earth metals. Artificial trees are in development to be placed in many cities and urban areas that want to reduce their pollution levels. These trees are made of liquid bioreactors in tanks filled with algae. Microalgae in tanks filled with liquid perform photosynthesis to remove as much carbon as a few trees. Sustainable designs like this can confront the pollution, improve air quality and reduce the effects of climate change in cities. Bioreceptive concrete is another innovative product that grows moss on its surface. Vertical urban forests can be grown with this new concrete that remove pollutants and carbon from the air with moss grown on its surface. They will define what organic architecture will look like. In many urban areas, green spaces are few and far between. Liquid trees as urban photobioreactors are used for CO2 fixation and O2 production. Vertical forests, green infrastructure and artificial trees will revolutionize cities and will make them more innovative and sustainable. Pollution levels have skyrocketed in many large cities. Now they're trying to reduce their air pollution. That's also contributing to climate change and many diseases. Algae is used to make fuels, oils, to remove carbon in large tanks and ponds. It's also used in artificial trees to remove carbon and pollutants in urban areas. Electric and solar infrastructure are being implemented in many cities. More solar panels are being installed in every place possible, like parking lots, roofs, empty spaces, walls, even windows with transparent cells. Concentrated solar cells are more efficient in converting sun's energy to electricity. New designs with pyramid mirrors over solar cells can direct sunlight coming from any direction throughout the day. This way, all the light is shown upon solar cells that generate more energy than traditional solar cells. In fact, less solar cells are used to generate more than twice the energy of traditional solar cells. This new technology can be scaled up globally to reach net zero quicker. Solar is one of the greatest energy sources, and it will always be. Concentrating sunlight to molten salt towers that store and generate a lot of energy had been mainstream already. Now, concentrated solar cells are able to generate way more energy. New designs are capable of capturing all the light. This means ambient lighting indoors and outdoors coming from any direction can be captured with concentrated solar cells to generate a lot of energy. Electricity from lighting can be captured and transferred back into the grid in a loop with concentrated solar cells that capture all the light anywhere. When they're combined with thermoelectric cells, they can also convert the heat being generated over solar cells into energy for extra boost. All the light and heat being emanated over the world and over solar panels, buildings, cities and all other surfaces can be turned into a lot of electricity with these new technologies. Well-structured polymers of carbon and other atoms can replace metals and even rare earths required for the switch to green energy and infrastructure. Carbon-based polymers can be sourced from greenhouse gases. This means all the greenhouse gases that cause warming and pollution can be reworked to build new technologies. replace materials used in all industries worldwide. This process could be implemented in other worlds like Mars as well. Most of the products can be made this way to build a greener world that can colonize and rejuvenate other planetary systems in a short time. Superconductors to build the most efficient quantum computers can be made of carbon-based lattices. Several or more atoms are placed in a crystal lattice to form extremely efficient superconductors and processors that will excel over anything ever made and tested. Superconductors can be used to make super-efficient, concentrated solar cells that can be placed over the facades, walls, roofs of all buildings, complexes, and facilities. These new technologies will make reaching net zero quicker because they utilize greenhouse gases as raw materials. Silicon is the main element in microchips, transistors, solar cells that are in high demand. Nevertheless, it can be replaced with new carbon-based polymers that are super efficient and made of greenhouse gases and waste. For example, steel is strengthened with carbon, and just a little carbon makes it extremely durable and stronger than most other alloys and metals. This corroborates the fact that carbon has the ability to strengthen and add new abilities to other structures and materials. Soon, every surface will generate its own energy and the rest will be transferred to the grid that will be more interconnected globally each year. Windows can generate more energy than solar panels when they're infused with transparent solar cells. Low lighting will generate enough electricity to power devices via solar films that are more efficient in converting low light to electricity. A lot faster chips can be made from carbon lattices formed as a superconducting structure to transmit electrons and process so much data quickly. Various types of carbon lattices have done the job well. They can bring forth quantum computing via high-speed processing. Carbon nanofibers are the main material to make many products, while carbon lattices constitute super-fast microchips. Both of them can construct highly intelligent devices, robotic intelligence that evolve and learn in a short time. In this way, robotic intelligences can solve the environmental and societal problems of the world with quantum computing and processing. After that, electronics may not require any external energy input. They can generate their own energy by harvesting lighting, heat, thermal and ambient sources. Heat can generate energy needed. Light from any source can be harvested and lead to chips consists of tiny mirrors that reflect the photons for data processing. Instead of silicon transistors, photons travel faster than electrons, and they can reflect off mirrored surfaces similar to concentrator photovoltaics. This can boost processing speed thousands of times over because photons are more efficient in traveling inside a chamber, in a loop. Photonic chambers can mimic the human brain, that's more complex and connected than any other system. They can transmit photons and data in between thousands, millions of other chambers which are artificial neurons mirroring photons in a loop. When photons are channeled to other chambers in a loop, there won't be a need for an external power source. Ambient lighting can be harvested continuously to power photonic chips, as well as thermal motion to power devices. Thermal motion can generate enough electricity to power electronics that are powered by photonic chips that are way faster, even more complex, than the human brain. Heat is energy. Any kind of waste and ambient heat is going to produce enough electricity for devices to power themselves one day. Ambient lighting occurs with photons being reflected off surfaces. Lighting can be concentrated in mirror chambers for photons to travel and process data, faster and more complex than current ones and zeros mode. Thousands of chambers will connect to each other and photons will continuously travel between them without losing speed and energy. The process works a little similar to concentrator photovoltaics that collect sunlight from a large surface and concentrates it to tiny multi-junction cells for higher energy output. Photons can be collected and concentrated into tiny cells, mimicking neurons that connect to millions of other cells. The data output would increase to more complex calculations than just ones and zeros. Photonic quantum computers can calculate very fast to solve the environmental, climatic and sustainability issues of this time. Move to zero can be reachable with quantum photonics that will compute with lots of data in a short time. Moving to net zero emissions will shift every aspect of society in the right direction. Back in the day, it was about consuming, using and emitting more for greater economic growth and expansion. The system had been extremely destructive in a fragile and finite world. The environment had depleted severely in many regions. Now they're required to be restored to their most stable and biodiverse states back again. Cities and industries must absorb more CO2 than they emit. There are many ways to achieve this, as well as many new techniques are being formulated with dedicated research in all fields. A new concept was born as the biocity that absorbs more CO2 than it emits. Some of these are under construction, and the materials and systems that make up these cities are able to absorb more carbon in pre-construction. Biocities follow the rules of the natural systems, just like forests. They grow like forests, instead of destroying the environment with gray infrastructure and pollution. They're largely self-sufficient, dismantling global supply chains as the cities of tomorrow will find what they need in their immediate surroundings. Various sustainable productions will be introduced to city centers. Energy, food, materials, products, 3D printing will be located near urban areas. They will reduce emissions or capture carbon during the process. Some biocities bring farming inside the urban limits with innovative systems. Energy production, water recycling, recycling of most things are done inside the city. Cities of the future can function as well as village communities of the past. Some self-sufficient villages of the past were growing more than they used and were always giving back to the environment they're a part of. This must be done by every city around the world now, in order to prevent their harm to their surrounding and global environment. A lot of regions are losing their natural water reservoirs as a result of catastrophic drought conditions. All of these are consequences of human society misuse and overuse of the natural environment that must have been preserved to continue providing its natural resources like water. Without water, society will collapse in a doom. Technology or renewables alone won't solve the droughts and water scarcity by any means. A lot of regions across the world are supposed to be restored to their pristine conditions that were greener and water-rich. No matter how much money several nations have, it won't bring back water reservoirs, nor a sustainable and livable environment that once existed. This is a global issue. The planet literally requires re-terraformation at this time before reaching Mars or the Moon. Water scarcity and intensifying in every continent. There won't be enough water anywhere in the world one day if the planet degrades in the current rate. In order to overcome this, water-producing technologies and natural ecosystems that produce naturally must be developed all around the world. Intact ecosystems and forests are essential to freshwater production. That's probably the most significant resource for human society and for all life. With innovation and research, water filtration technologies like desalination can be scaled up to create new rich and powerful ecosystems and forests that have the capability to produce fresh water naturally. After some time, there won't be a need to desalinate water much longer. Some of the driest areas used to be very lush and water-rich in the past. They can be restored to this condition with ecological restoration and water-rich ecosystems. The environment has degraded into deserts in many places, where there were very large rivers and many forests. This shouldn't be allowed much longer in order to preserve the world and stabilize the climate. At forest, technological solutions can be implemented to restore the world, then natural solutions will do better. Drip irrigation had been successful in the driest areas. This effective system can be scaled up to grow very productive farms, orchards, and vast forests that can produce fresh water naturally. The largest forests are abundant with water resources because these ecosystems are natural producers, forming rivers and lakes. Without them, the world will become a desert in a short time. Crop production and reforestation projects can be optimized with efficient drip irrigation. Some areas can get the water from desalination plants that aren't good for the coastal areas. Once biodiversity in large areas of forest production are created with desalination and drip irrigation, plus essential nutrients, new production zones will be able to restore the world and enhance the environment into its most water-rich state. Large deserts can become forest farms one day. After a while, they won't need any maintenance. They will be completely self-sufficient and self-maintaining. The system will upgrade the global environment, forming microclimates that shaping a robust and rich, global climate for cleaner and greener resources. To minimize emissions and pollution, an interwoven clean energy grid must encompass the world. Clean energy grid will reshape the society, make it more connected and digital than ever before. Every nation will do whatever it takes to reach net zero, clear out their pollution and restore their environment. Some of them have clean energy potential. They can share their renewable resources and energy with others via the clean energy grid. The internet already connected the world. Now the clean energy grids will be extremely interlinked. Every aspect of society will produce clean energy and renewable resources in many ways, while the planet is healing itself. Renewable resources are what nurtures nature and ecosystems. This means they give more to the natural environment than they take. This will be the framework of society worldwide. Trees are extremely powerful. There is a wide variety of them to plant and grow new ecosystems and forests in every region. Now scientists and researchers started introducing plant-based solutions and materials into tech components, industrial processes, to boost sustainability. Most tech and industrial components can be plant-based one day. Some materials used were incredibly efficient, they literally surpassed the metals, substances used in tech manufacturing. Most of the batteries and clean energy devices can be upgraded with plant-based materials that are renewable and recyclable. Recycling of most of the products have been difficult, yet plant-based products and devices can be recycled easily. They're so efficient and eco-friendly because they're made of chains of carbon and other elements that were created with photosynthesis. Various organic compounds are able to turn to carbon lattices that can filter out salt and minerals from the seawater. There is abundance of minerals, metals, salt in seawater. All of these can be filtered out and separated with new organic carbon filters, so they can be used for new technologies made for the green switch. The same way, membranes and filters that can harvest the carbon from the air continuously can be made. Some organic compounds have the ability to soak up carbon from the atmosphere like a sponge without any energy. Carbon can be harvested from the air to be used for technologies and many productions soon. A carbon-based industrial revolution will be capable of cleaning up and regenerating the Earth and assist in space colonization on Mars and other planets that have a lot of useful elements like carbon in their atmosphere. Organic compounds can soak up and attach to carbon molecules to form very efficient electrical units that can be used to make better electronics and faster processors. Silicon era will come to an end soon. Carbon-based lattices are way more efficient. They can be made with waste and organic compounds with carbon. Soon, most products will be 3D printed from waste materials. 3D printing is improving every year and getting more innovative. Waste can be used as feed for 3D printers that can manufacture anything. Solid-state batteries, which can bring in the electric vehicle infrastructure to the world, are being 3D printed with more sustainable minerals and materials. Battery technology is essential for the green switch to clean energy and infrastructure. 3D printed products are easier to recycle. They can be recycled as feed for 3D printers that make the same or different products over and over again. All the materials used can be recycled in a loop with 3D manufacturing. All the parts and components of electric cars can be 3D printed with abundant metals, with zero rare earth soon. Batteries are made with many rare earth metals that are hard to mine and process. Waste carbon structures will be able to replace rare earths in every industry one day. Artificial photosynthesis is getting better with greater research. All kinds of fuels, chemicals, industrial-grade materials can be produced with artificial photosynthesis soon. Natural processes aren't too efficient. Artificial ones can be better than what nature does. Greenhouse gases in the atmosphere can be harvested with artificial photosynthesis, just like plants do, in order to supply a lot of the resources needed by the modern society. This will upgrade civilization as we know of and make it extremely sustainable. Emissions are difficult to prevent. Greenhouse gas emissions are still skyrocketing. For this reason, new processes must be developed to harvest all the greenhouse gases as a resource for all industries. Most of the fuels, chemicals, and materials are made of fossil fuels, which are chains of hydrocarbons. The greenhouse gases can be chemically altered to become like fossil fuels over and over again, which would lead to zero emissions. Many new technologies made of engineered carbon and its lattices will be developed. Carbon is such a remarkable element, it's the building block of organic life forms. Scientists have developed graphene, which is structured similarly to graphene, but with boron. There are other elements to work on to formulate very efficient tech and electrical components that will bring in the new era of technological breakthroughs. While the switch to green innovation and energy is on the move, many new innovative cities that are designed with zero carbon emissions and green infrastructure are being laid out. Cities will change to improve the environment, rather than consuming and destroying it. Green energy, innovation and ecological enrichment are going to be the main context of new cities from now on. They will be more futuristic than the ones, consist of many tall buildings and large roads. New cities are supposed to produce more organic resources than they use, by converting carbon to useful compounds and products. City planning is going to change to better the environment in and out of cities. There are so many arid lands all over the world, new cities can reclaim them and turn them into green growth centers. Deserts are expanding, with renewable productions that grow forests as bio-based structures. Deserts can turn green. Water resources are extremely crucial to the security and well-being of society. New technologies can harvest water from the air to establish renewable productions that improve the environment with fresh sources of growth. Many technologies and greater research must be dedicated to water security and water production via innovative approaches like air condensation, better, cleaner desalination, moisture harvesting, cloud seeding, and natural systems. Just like catalysts that can harvest greenhouse gases to combine and convert them into useful resources, metal organic frameworks, cutting-edge catalysts, can harvest and produce water via many ways. Even on Mars, there is hydrogen and oxygen to produce a lot of water. All of these elements are in the thin atmosphere, but they're still abundant. Water can be produced anywhere, when these elements can be harvested and combined with technology. If enough water and oxygen can be produced, it will be easier to establish self-sufficient colonies anywhere in the solar system. Some elements like carbon have their superlattice forms, which can harvest and transform ambient sources like greenhouse gases, hydrogen, oxygen, and other elements into useful compounds, chemicals, and liquids like water. Metal organic frameworks comprise metals and organic chains like carbon. They work better with proteins and amino acids derived from organic sources. New biological life forms will emerge on planets and moons that are going through a transformation with organic synthesis that harvest and combine many elements into essential resources for human colonies. If these resources are created to establish habitats, many new organisms will start emerging in these new habitats. New organisms will eventually learn how to create organic resources by combining the constituents in their surroundings and in the air. Carbon is a vital element present in all life forms on Earth. Naturally occurring isotopes like carbon-12 are used by the creatures on Earth to produce energy from food and the sun. With carbon and other elements harvested from the air formed into superlattices, very efficient technologies, electronics, products can be created anywhere in the universe, transforming greenhouse gases and various elements into all kinds of components and products will boost sustainability of every region and industry. The planet is getting drier every year, yet floods are more frequent and severe. This can only be prevented by creating a greener world in every continent, since every region contributes to climatic shifts. Engineered plants and crops can improve farming and bring greater green growth in a short time to all regions. Plants and crops can be genetically engineered to capture more carbon, grow faster and yield more. They can be drought resistant, need less water, nutrients, grow faster, improve the soil with micronutrients, provide more resilient resources for all industries with genetic engineering. There is a wide variety of plants and crops that can be altered and combined genetically to boost their abilities. Regenerative farming practices are better for the environment and climate. They can also utilize engineered crops, plants, and trees to boost efficiency and improve the soil and climatic conditions. Engineered crops can be grown in vertical farms that can capture tons of carbon. They can be grown in contained facilities, instead of outdoor farms, for environmental concerns. Engineered may or may not help the ecosystems that are nearby. They can be engineered to be grown for different purposes like greater carbon absorption, yields, industrial materials, and so much more. Vertical farms are getting more technological and systematic every year. They can transform every city into a self-sufficient biome that produce more than they use and clear out all of their emissions. Cities and industries that supply them must neutralize all of their emissions and impact to the environment before it's too late. They can achieve this by investing in sustainable, carbon-capturing productions and technologies that will get better with research and development. Affordable filters made of organic compounds are able to capture all the CO2 from smokestacks and other emission sources. Captured CO2 can be reused industrially. CO2 has high value in the global market. Its usage in products doesn't necessarily emit much of it. Engineered crops will make it easier to mass produce most of the products that aren't eco-friendly, recyclable, nor biodegradable. Soon, photonic and neuronal quantum computers will collect all the data to solve all the problems of our time and the future. They will mimic the brain activity, which consists of billions of neurons interacting and sharing data with each other consistently. The brain is the most powerful processor ever known. New computer systems will emulate the brain and the behavior of neurons to solve global issues like climate change, pollution, degradation, resource depletion, even deforestation. It will be easier for so many people to participate in completing the tasks and missions devised by the most intelligent computing networks. Most people don't know what to do about the global issues. Everyone had been blaming each other for a while. Instead, the real solutions planned by the most intelligent computers designed for this purpose can unite people under one purpose of protecting, cleaning, and regenerating the Earth as much as possible. These highly scalable computers will be capable of finding new techniques to capture the carbon from the air and turn it into countless products that are sustainable, good for the planet and completely recyclable. The carbon will be recycled in a loop, just like every other product, material. A lot of companies started reusing all the waste, packaging and collect their used products to make new ones. Loop recycling technologies will benefit every industry and will eliminate waste and pollution at every level. Human society will be like the mycelium structures connecting vast forests, sharing resources to sustain their existence and growth. Mycelium structures in the ground that connect the roots of each plant and tree is similar to how the brain is structured. Mycorrhizal networks comprise microorganisms and fungi sharing nutrients with each other and feeding the roots of every plant. In this way, they sustain the entire forest ecosystem, so nothing really dies out of any circumstances. This is how human society will evolve and grow technologically and as a universal society, rather than competing and conflicting each other over everything. There is the solution to every problem in the universe, right here in nature. Nature encompasses the universe, yet it's been degraded to total demise in many worlds. Nature must be cared and protected in every way possible. The economy should be fueled with this goal. Technological development will be fueled by the natural processes. Many technologies that mimic nature will be developed with greater research and experimentation. The artificial photosynthesis and carbon conversion methods are just the beginning of this. These procedures can be scaled up universally and in other worlds like Mars. For instance, carbon exists abundantly in nature and many organisms are mostly made of it. Human DNA includes carbon in its strands. This element, just like many other elements, has the ability to enhance the properties of every object it's incorporated in. Insects like spiders weave their silk filaments to build their webs. It's a very strong and useful material that can be produced with artificial methods one day. It has properties similar to graphene, like tensile strength. Silk-like materials can be woven out with a combination of substances. Graphene and carbon lattices combined with other lattices of elements have been superior for technological and electronic components. They're woven into each other to form superlattices that can achieve faster processing, electrical conductivity, material production. The proteins in spider silk is what gives it most of its super properties. Scientists thought that plants can produce this material for industrial usage. Plants already have the genetic capacity to make large proteins. Agriculture is easy to scale up. Silk could be produced and harvested in mass quantities. Similarly, extremely efficient materials better than graphene can be produced with plants and proteins, just like spider silk. Scientists also discovered that genetically modified bacteria can produce many things, like spider silk. Bacteria can be used to create large amounts of desired proteins. Bacteria replicates quickly and produces large proteins that can make up spider silk-like materials. Once the proteins are collected, they can be spun into fibers with properties better than natural spider silk. Engineered spider silk could replace synthetic fibers used in many industries. Bacterial productions can replace unsustainable industries and materials because they are more sustainable, never harm the environment or use up any resources. Bacteria can produce many things with zero impact and emissions. Some of them can also remove carbon to produce useful materials that can be used in many industries. Artificial systems can make more versatile, stronger, sustainable materials, better than anything in nature one day. Nature is efficient, yet it won't be able to feed the voracity of human population. Vertical farming is improving every year. The plant-based materials used in tech manufacturing can be made in vertical farms in many cities. Researchers already discovered that fungi can be grown as a substrate for computer boards. Plant-based materials like this can be grown in large farms to supply tech manufacturing that can use plant-based materials increasingly. Most of the tech components and electronics aren't recyclable. They end up in landfills and pollute the environment. E-waste may be bigger than plastic waste soon, because people buy more electronics than ever before. Some parts of every electronic device can be plant-based. Plants and organisms conduct electricity in their bodies to operate, just like humans and animals. This organic electricity transmission could be emulated with plant-based and organic tech components. Organisms operate and think with electrical transmission inside their nervous systems. Humans have a more complex nervous system than other organisms. That's why they're smarter, yet they didn't evolve to become environmentally benign for the planet and its resources. With the switch to plant-based and organic manufacturing, every industry can become more environmentally friendly, preserve natural resources, reduce pollution. Electronics waste is going to get better if electronics don't get to be completely recyclable and biodegradable. New components made of fungi, which is one of the first dominant organisms on Earth, can be completely recyclable and decompose in a short time. Components, parts made of fungi, plants, bacteria can be better for the environment, mitigate pollution and eventually will allow more efficient, smarter, or organic, neural computer systems and electronic devices. All the organic processes and operations in plants, animals, and other organisms will be copied via new technologies that are being developed and researched to tackle climate change and other global issues like pollution and waste. Hydrogen will be used to power transportation systems, the grid, shipping, cars, and many things can be made when it's synthesized with other gases and substances. Hydrogen can either be drawn from the atmosphere or from the seawater, since fresh water is too valuable and scarce to use for energy. Through hydrogen and oxygen pulled from seawater, fresh water can be procured via hydrogen synthesis. It's difficult and energy-intensive to desalinate seawater. Hydrogen and oxygen can be drawn from seawater, then synthesized with less energy. Seawater could be split into hydrogen and oxygen for hydrogen and water production with electrolysis and synthesis mechanisms. When a lot of fresh water is produced with new technologies that pull and combine the most essential gases into compounds like water, every industry will become more sustainable. Most industries and cities squander water at an increasing rate. Water is always the greatest resource, and it's in jeopardy at this time. Rich vegetation has the ability to create water anywhere in the world. It's not just the snow melting on the mountains that create freshwater rivers. Vegetation is one of the biggest parts of freshwater production all over the world. Some very dry areas used to be very lush and water-rich in the past, about 1,000 years or so. This implies they can one day get restored to their original lush and water-rich state with global participation and restoration projects. Of course, they will be able to accommodate a lot of people, make use of renewable energies after that. Some countries are planning to design and construct very verdant, net zero, clean energy powerhouse cities to restore and reclaim their degraded lands and deserts. Some of the most futuristic cities had been erected in the deserts. They can also be extremely green, create water naturally, produce commodities sustainably, and display the most efficient and futuristic systems of renewable and clean energies in all sectors. Newly designed cities will include all the climate innovations and technologies in every sector. They're going to be different from other cities designed for consumption and economic growth as the base. Climate-conscious city designs will attempt to produce more than they need with green growth and recycle, reuse everything. The economic system will be totally different. It will improve the environment, protect and reuse natural resources effectively. As a result of the sea level rise, floating cities will be the standard in every country. They will generate energy, produce all kinds of resources from the ambience, generate hydrogen from seawater to operate and make chemicals. They will be totally self-sufficient because resources will be scarcer while the sea levels are rising and swallowing coastal cities and areas. So much hydrogen can be extracted from seawater to run any operation and supplement clean energies. One kind of clean energy won't supply the entire world like fossil fuels did for a while. The sector will get more innovative every year, creating energy in many ways, from undiscovered sources. Floating cities can be the only places where people can live and thrive if the planet's continents decline. For this reason, they must embody the best technologies and systems to produce everything: energy, grow crops, make industrial-grade chemicals out of air, use them on site, include large greenhouses with a diversity of flora and fauna. Solar will get better every year at generating energy. It will be the building block of every city, building, complex, facility, as well as any transportation system. The outer shell of most of these will be covered in very efficient solar cells that generate more than enough energy. Flying cities powered by nuclear energy are going to be mainstream one day. They will be like floating cities that are very self-sufficient and fly continually without requiring any restocking. Right now, many schemes are in development. Some of them are demonstrating extreme self-sufficiency. Climate technologies are designed to boost self-sufficiency and environmental friendliness of every part of society. Mini fusion reactors will revolutionize transportation, flight, and the energy sector. Flying cities and high-speed crafts can be powered by fusion reactors. Fusion reactors can easily generate more than enough energy for the entire world without any emissions. Mass manufacturing of sustainable products that won't harm, nor use up resources can be done with nuclear fusion, because so much energy is needed for manufacturing, construction, and other productions. When nuclear fusion is in full operation, many eco-villages can be set up for people to leave large cities and live by improving and caring for the natural environment. The job sectors will be about improving the natural environment and sustainability in every possible to tackle climate change and other global issues, rather than growth and profits. People will find their purpose by engaging in these eco-conscious job markets that will make the world more connected and cooperative. Compact fusion reactors can power rapid transportation, allowing distances to get shorter, and floating and flying cities to be mainstream. When nuclear fusion is up and running, it will be feasible to reach Mars in a short time with fusion-powered spacecrafts. New, more eco-friendly versions of desalination systems are crucial for water security. Nobody knows how much water there will be if the planet keeps warming up and changes the rainfall and climate patterns that supply freshwater reservoirs. New technologies that float on water to produce a lot of drinking water with membranes seem better, more environmentally benign versions of desalination. Large desalination plants discharge too much brine that's toxic to the marine environment. There may not be too many fish, and most marine ecosystems may be destroyed as a result of this, since more and more nations are building very large desalination plants. In some very industrial countries, their rivers had been running extremely toxic. They only dump their industrial waste in some of their rivers, killing vast ecosystems. For this reason, excessive industrialization must be banned worldwide. The planet should be more natural, instead of industrial. Climate change technologies are still industrial in some ways, yet they're proposed to improve the global conditions, unlike most industrial practices. New freshwater reservoirs that are totally natural must be created with ecological improvements worldwide. Nobody really knows how to achieve this, but this may be one of the solutions to climate change. The richly vegetative and forested areas may create new water reservoirs after some time, if they're designed properly and nurtured for a while. Desalination is the only option to produce enough water to be able to reforest and restore the vegetation, biodiversity and water-rich jungles that once were prevalent in many regions. Desalination systems must improve, so they won't discharge too much brine. Brine contains a lot of valuable minerals and salt that can be extracted for mass productions. Sodium-ion batteries will get better with greater research and participation of many companies. They can be one of the best energy storage units soon. Brine can be used to manufacture sodium batteries to power the grid, cars, electronics, and many other devices. Sodium is abundant in the oceans and seas. There are other minerals in them as well. Compact, floating desalination units won't discharge too much brine to increase the salinity of the surrounding seawater. If brine can be used industrially and technologically, large, floating desalination units can be placed all over the oceans to supply water to the world. Moreover, they can be placed near dry regions and deserts to create new regenerative agricultural states, forests, orchards, biodiversity hubs all over the world. Water is essential to all life. Biodiversity increases immediately if there's enough water. Nature-based solutions to climate change can also resolve many other problems of society. They can provide new and more resilient resources for the globe in every region. Shipping of goods will be shorter distance because natural solutions can restore land's produce yields by removing tons of carbon anywhere. Traditional factories will be a thing of the past one day. They overuse finite resources, pollute the air and waters, and manufacture countless junk products for the global economy. More sustainable means of productions that are also natural solutions will replace factories and manufacturing facilities. For instance, plant-based feedstocks are being used to construct and 3D print products and homes at this time. Back in the day, every product and building materials were manufactured in factories that harm the environmental and natural reserves severely. People of the world had been misusing everything, all the resources in the natural environment for centuries. This cannot be allowed much longer. Destructive practices are threats to every nation and to security of natural resources, which are very fragile and finite. Less than 1% of the Earth's water is drinkable and usable. Nobody knows how much water and fertile land will be left if the planet warms and degrades at this rate. Reaching net zero means more greenhouse gases are removed and emitted worldwide. This cannot be attained without natural solutions to climate change deployed all over the world, in every nation, every town and neighborhood. There is always more space and more opportunities for renewable, biological, or organic, natural solutions planned to improve the climatic and environmental conditions in many ways. Of course, most of the planet must be restored to its most resilient, pristine state. This can be done with natural climate solutions, differing region to region. One solution may not be feasible in all places. Thus, so many solutions are required and many more will be in development and research phase. Humanity must unite under a higher purpose of planetary protection and restoration. Otherwise, there won't be a future. Excessive technology won't solve all the problems. Most critical technologies tend to boost sustainability, abundance, renewability to higher levels, taking natural resources into account every time. Many regions can be restored or enhanced to their organically, biologically abundant state with the climate technologies, green energy, and natural solutions. Biodiversity can be the biggest power of the Earth and humanity both. Biological diversity is usually the key to environmental stability and abundance. Every species and organism contributes to the circular systems that nurture all life. There is so much carbon and waste in the atmosphere and being fabricated by society. They can both be utilized as feedstocks of new circular economies, reshaping supply chains. Every company can collect and reuse their waste to make all the products. Carbon capture and utilization is being researched and experimented on. New procedures will filter greenhouse gases, carbon and waste, from the air and from waste streams to make a lot of products, fuels, chemicals, materials. Everything that occurs in nature can be mimicked technologically, industrially and scientifically. Mimicking of nature will be the framework of every industry soon. For example, new desalination methods that copy the evaporation cycle of the rainfall and water streams can be deployed worldwide. These new systems will be employed to restore and enrich the degraded and dry environments and areas in a short time, because water will be produced rapidly. The Earth harbors the biological and organic resources and life forms that can terraform and revive barren and alien exoplanets. There are so many of them in the universe. The Earth had been thriving with life for a long time. By regenerating every region to their previous, biologically, ecologically abundant stage, the planet will secure the resources to revive and terraform many new worlds. The technologies developed to achieve this will be extremely useful in other worlds like Mars, Titan, and many others. The Earth wants to spread its life-giving assets in this solar system, then to planets that are suitable for terraforming. This is how life spreads in the universe. Anything can be genetically engineered to adapt to new environments, to convert other compounds, elements into useful and viable ones for life to go on. Life always finds a way. The Earth is a biological storehouse that's more significant than other worlds. It has to be protected and rejuvenated continuously. Rising temperatures as a result of trapped greenhouse gases, environmental degradation, ecosystem collapse, desertification must be addressed globally. Many new technologies will be developed here on out to deal with climatic and environmental conditions of this industrial era. Industries have to mimic nature and become more organic, regenerative by capturing and blending carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and other elements into useful products and resources. Scientists have found new ways to clean the air by extracting elements like nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen out of it to produce so many things and high-grade materials used in many industries. After this, industries will eventually become extremely sustainable because they will clean the air, the waters, oceans, the lands and enrich the environment. Mini Earths can be created in space, with these technologies being developed to regenerate the Earth to its cleanest and most pristine state. Terraforming new worlds might be impossible at first, but mini Earths can be created to house millions of people anywhere, just like space stations where plants can grow. Humans can become one of the most advanced civilizations in the universe if they can preserve the Earth to terraform new worlds. This is probably attained by only a very few and selected civilizations that have done the right things after their planet started changing and declining. Not every civilization was able to preserve their world's original abundance and resources. This shouldn't happen here on Earth. Natural resources are the most important aspect of society. They give life to all life forms, including humans. Many organisms, working in coordination with each other, can clean up the Earth and create many new ecosystems to support all life and the human population for a long time. Underwater and on-land ecosystems are crucial to keeping the Earth's balance, so it can continue to produce and provide for the human population. Humans have assumed that consuming everything, at an increasing rate, was the best thing to do and to accomplish. Solar can provide enough energy for every city and industry that are changing to become a lot more sustainable in every way. Solar energy can be converted into solar fuels with zero emissions. Solar fuels will replace fossil fuels and other energy sources one day. They can be energy dense to run any operation, city, and vehicle. Large plants will consistently produce solar fuels by combining sunlight, hydrogen, and other ambient sources into fuels. Electric cars with solar cells as their exterior can offer some mileage, yet solar fuels can make any car and many other operations totally zero carbon. New prototypes are coming out. They are charged by their exterior solar cells. Solar cars can support the grid by giving some of their charge back. They will be able to produce their own fuels one day, since sunlight can be combined with various elements to synthesize energy-dense solar fuels. These technologies will be more useful and disruptive than all other technologies. In order to tackle climate change and its consequences, extremely sustainable systems of energy generation, manufacturing, artificial photosynthesis must be developed. Buildings, homes, cars and every other structure will be able to produce a great amount of solar fuels with ambient sources, so they can transport to the people in need as well. Solar fuels can be produced anywhere in the world where there is enough sunlight. The carbon and other elements are abundant in the atmosphere and ambience. Well-designed catalysts can incite chain reactions to produce pretty much anything, as well as solar fuels and materials made of sunlight, carbon and other abundant sources like nitrogen, hydrogen in the air, etc. Humans will rely on these innovative methods to produce all kinds of carbon-neutral and sustainable fuels, materials unlike anything ever used and made before. Industrial and technological era will be revolutionized by green innovations and technologies that will improve the environmental conditions of the Earth. All the Earth's non-renewable resources and fragile ecosystems must be preserved for future use and global stability. People must understand that humans are only a part of nature, not a consumer of all, nor top of the food chain. Solar fuels, chemicals, and materials can be the most renewable and innovative systems of production and manufacturing as of now. Solar had been fueling everything in nature for billions of years. Very effective, engineered nanophoto-catalysts and photoreactors can deliver environmentally friendly revolution in industrial chemistry. They can split, combine and synthesize all kinds of matter and gases into eco-friendly fuels with solar energy. Nanoengineering is still in its beginning stage, however it can invent unique catalysts and reactors to produce anything, upgrading every industry into its most sustainable and environmentally benign phase. With nanoengineered catalysts and metal organic frameworks and other mesh lattices consists of several elements, fuels, chemicals, and all kinds of materials can be made from gases in the atmosphere. With this new technology, all kinds of things can be made on other planets, because they all have some types of atmosphere comprising many gases comparable to Mars, Titan, Earth, etc. Methane in the atmosphere includes hydrogen. It can be captured during emissions, or hydrogen can be drawn from the atmosphere with catalysts, just like the catalysts that split hydrogen from ammonia and other compounds. Solar catalysts can create all kinds of reactions to capture and produce industrial-grade compounds from the air, from water, pollutants, gases, waste, even wastewater soon. All of these will be regained as a resource with new mechanisms of catalysis, filtering, conversion, chain reactions, synthesis, etc. Space colonization will make use of these systems and technologies, because they harvest all the ambient elements and enhance the environmental conditions anywhere. Space ventures will also bring forth many new technologies and mechanisms that can improve the climatic and environmental conditions of the Earth, regenerate natural resources. Self-sustaining colonies can be established on the Moon, Mars and many other places with these innovative solutions, and research enterprises targeted for the climate change and other global perils. Seawater will become one of the greatest sources of energy and feedstock for all industries and applications. There is so much lithium to make the switch to green energy. Lithium can be extracted from seawater with magnetic membranes that only draws lithium out of the water. Oceans contain a tremendous amount of minerals, metals to make the switch to green energy and infrastructure in a short time. There is no need to mine and harm the environment by removing ecosystems and digging too deep. Seawater extraction of minerals and metals will be extremely efficient and eco-friendly. Currently, desalination is a very energy-intensive and toxic process for marine ecosystems. Magnetic membranes will remove salt, lithium, and other useful materials out of salty water and only leave pure water to be filtered for drinking and agriculture. With this new process, agriculture can be done anywhere, even in the largest deserts, since water will be abundant. Forests, orchards, new biodiversity hubs can be grown in desert and driest locations with new technologies that make use of seawater. Hydrogen can be extracted from seawater as well, as a very abundant energy source. Hydrogen can power all the society easily if it can be sourced from seawater and liquefied, pressurized or turned into ammonia with clean energy. It can replace fossil fuels this way, since it doesn't emit any greenhouse gases except water vapor during use. There are cars that will hit the global market soon, that use salt water to run. They're as good as gas and electric cars, if not more powerful because salt water can actually provide so much energy. Lamps that light up with the electricity generated from salt water had been developed and used for so many years. The same process had been enhanced to power cars reaching high speed quickly. Salt water can power anything for a long time. Ionic salt solutions can be replenished like filling a gas tank in cars. Redox flow batteries are being used for cars, so salt water can run them for longer mileage than electric batteries. Flow batteries had been supporting the grid systems for some time. Not plain salt water, but salty aqueous electrolyte solutions had been engineered by some companies to power a car. The positively anolyte and negatively catholyte charged by ion liquids are maintained apart in two onboard tanks, separated by a membrane, much like traditional grid storage flow batteries. Redox refers to the various charge states that are used as potential on the membrane's opposite side. The ion exchange generates an electric current with charge added or withdrawn through two electrodes when the liquids are pumped past the membrane. As a result, while anode surface area affects power, tank size alone dictates the amount of energy that can be stored. Similar to how a gas car refuels, the anolyte and catholyte are replaced with new liquids once all the energy has been used up. The solutions are cheap to produce and cost less than gasoline. Thus, saltwater-powered cars can be very popular soon, perhaps more than electric cars. Oceans and seas can provide the essential resources to power and supply society in many ways. They can be abundant sources of renewable energy and materials if the required materials, essences can be extracted with new technologies. Redox flow battery structures will get better by time, they can be scaled up for transportation, grid, and other industrial processes. These batteries will be powered by salt water one day. At this time, aqueous solutions are produced in labs. Salt water, as well as sodium-ion batteries, can be made from seawater that covers most of the Earth. Rare earth minerals are in high demand, but mining and their extraction are very harmful to the environment. Seawater can provide most of the minerals required for all industries. Eventually, these rare and hard-to-process minerals will be replaced with their synthetic alternatives. Plastic batteries are already in development, they can be better and more environmentally friendly than lithium. When hydrogen is extracted from seawater, it can power all industries with zero emissions. The planet must be re-terraformed with all kinds of climate solutions and technologies as soon as possible. Otherwise, resource depletion will be overwhelming and irreversible. Carbon-based materials, lattices, frameworks will be some of the best constituents used in all industries, as well as technological sectors. Carbon is so abundant, all life is based on it on Earth. This wonder element can be synthesized, combined with other minerals and elements to form very versatile and powerful lattices for technological development, chip manufacturing, materials productions, industrial components and so much more. Carbon will be sourced from the atmosphere to make so many things soon. This new sector is in research and development stage at this time. There are carbon capture facilities, but they aren't able to convert the limited amount of captured carbon to anything yet. Technology will improve significantly, will become more biological and organic, with the ability to heal, evolve, learn, make things. Robotic intelligences can be made of carbon-based components sourced from the air. They will become biological, Just like humans that learn, evolve, communicate, make, create, they can grow, heal and upgrade themselves through integrated artificial photosynthesis. Robotic intelligences will be like plants that can perform tasks and operations anywhere on Earth and in space. Many worlds can be colonized and terraformed with robotic intelligences with the ability to utilize ambient and atmospheric elements with processes similar to artificial photosynthesis. Of course, the material productions, tech sectors, manufacturing will be a lot more sustainable with these newly emerging processes derived from artificial photosynthesis, carbon synthesis and conversion. Industrial processes will upgrade to enhance the environment and regrow, rehabilitate natural resources that are getting scarcer. Carbon-to-e-fuels is a process that's already developed and will be scaled up globally. Carbons from the air can be turned back into hydrocarbons essential to many industries. Carbon-negative, zero-emission fuels will be more feasible to deal with climate issues, since e-fuels made of carbon and renewable energy still emit greenhouse gases when they're used. It's better to use the e-fuels made of hydrocarbon from the air, for material productions to store and recycle them consistently. Carbon-negative materials will revolutionize every industry and city. There are materials that can sequester and store more carbon than it's emitted during production. Even carbon-negative cement and concrete are in development at this time. Construction is one of the biggest sources of carbon emissions. Soon it can all be carbon-negative. Researchers are experimenting on methods to sequester more carbon inside materials, similarly to wood, bamboo, hemp, and other plant-based materials. These materials can store and sequester so much carbon in their fibers and filaments. Via material changes, industries can sequester the carbon and other greenhouse gases before or after they emit. This reduces the pollution and waste at all levels as well. Agricultural waste can be turned into many materials when they're combined with binding agents. Organic waste can be processed and combined with binding agents to make all kinds of renewable and sustainable materials used in many sectors. Renewable fuels that capture carbon emissions before, during and after production can be made from waste, pollutants, and greenhouse gases. This is how the world can be powered. It will be easier to process, produce and transport renewable fuels that are carbon negative. The infrastructure to transport fuels is already there. Fossil fuels can be substituted with renewable fuels. All kinds of chemicals used in many sectors are being made from greenhouse gases and waste. Fuels, chemicals, and materials can be recycled in a loop without harming the environment, causing pollution or contributing to global warming. Eventually, all types of facilities, buildings, machinery, businesses will be able to create their own fuels, materials on site with the systems of greenhouse gas, waste capture and conversion. Nothing will be emitted nor wasted ever again. Cars running with renewable fuels can be better than electric cars because the liquid fuels infrastructure is well established. Renewable fuels will be made from anything inside bioreactors that will improve and shrink in size to fit into any car, building, and facility. The Back to the Future scenario might become a reality soon or one day. People will throw their waste into bioreactors that capture and synthesize greenhouse gases, constantly producing renewable, carbon-negative fuels. Microengineering of products, fuels, industrial chemicals will be so advanced that the things, gases that cause massive pollution in every continent will be a resource for all industries. A wide variety of crops that are used industrially, as food, material and other means can be genetically engineered to thrive in prolonged drought conditions. Certain types of wheat had been improved genetically with resilient genes trimmed from drought-resistant crops and plants. Crops like these are essential to all kinds of productions, yet they don't support biodiversity as monocultures. Biodiversity must be restored globally. All regions must become rich in biodiversity with native and exotic species to thrive ecologically and with natural resources. Genetic engineering of crops will be necessary to secure food production in many regions, since global warming is reducing rainfall and tormenting productions. For instance, certain genes cropped from mangroves, which are plants that grow in water and in coastal areas, can bring sustainable agriculture to coasts. Coastal areas near the oceans and seawater can be farmed with genetically engineered crops that manifest the characteristics of mangroves. If plants that grow in salty water and promote biodiversity and resilience provide certain genes to various crops, farming will be able to be done with seawater. Even if there are very long droughts, genetically engineered crops will thrive in any region, yielding food, material, industrial security. Regenerative farming will flourish by integrating genetically engineered crops that do well in any condition. Eventually, Regenerative farming consists of a large variety of species will create regenerative forests, bringing biodiversity and abundance to dry and distressed regions. Many crops in farming fields may fail as a result of climate breakdown. Wild species carry the resilient genes, having evolved in nature to survive tough conditions such as extreme heat, drought, flooding and poor soils. There are so many wild and forgotten varieties for useful genetic diversity. All of them can be grown to restore the previous landscapes, thriving with diversity and resilience to any condition. Thousands of crops had been domesticated in the past. Now, the planet must be rewilded as much as possible. For that, wild and genetically enhanced species are going to proliferate and gradually create regenerative forests that produce all the things people and industries require. People think products come from manufacturing plants. As a matter of fact, a lot of things and products are made of or derived from forest resources. For this reason, the things that people use must grow more forests, more areas rich in biodiversity and water sources than they consume and use up. This can be achieved with tweaks and improved designs in every industry and business sector. Urban and vertical farming will transform cities into the greenest hubs that soak in more carbon, pollutants than emitted throughout. Genetically engineered species of crops, trees, and other plants can be one of the solutions to climate change, since they can capture and store more carbon, also provide a lot of resources for all sectors and cities. The world requires re-terraforming at this time, before it's too late. This will reform every city, field of business and industrial design from the ground up. The aliens knew the world had been misused and overused by their native populations. The planet might bleed into total collapse sooner than expected. That's why they came to Earth with their sinister plans, which are very dangerous for every human being on Earth, regardless of their status, wealth, and power. In a depleting world, nobody wins. The aliens will easily subjugate mankind. Money and power will be meaningless, because there won't be enough resources to go by. Solar and wind are being combined in new forms of technologies and designs to generate more energy day and night. There are other thermoelectric energy devices that can be combined with other renewable energies like solar and wind. New devices merge solar, wind and thermoelectric devices all into one instrument, generating a lot more power day and night. Solar can generate more energy when thermal cells are integrated into the same panel and device. Compact wind turbines are being arranged as walls, facades, rooftops, as well as the base for solar panels. Consequently, more energy is generated with one device to power any building, facility easily. The carbon and other elements in the air can be continuously harvested to produce so much fuel to power anything, then the emitted carbon and other gases will be recycled in a loop to generate fuels and a lot of energy. In this way, the energy will be extremely abundant, harvested anywhere, on other planets, recycled in a loop, produce useful, industrial chemicals and so much more. A lot of things will be made this way from now on. The research and experimentation are barely beginning in this new field of energy and chemical generation from the ambience and the air. In the future, buildings, crafts, facilities, manufacturing, and other structures will be powered and supplied with elements harvested from the air and ambience. They will be 4D printed with precision lasers, using the elements and feedstock that exist in the surrounding environment. For example, the regolith on the Moon and Mars can be used to 3D print buildings, structures in space. Then these structures can be powered with new forms of energy harvested and recycled from the air and the environment. Many things can be synthesized with resources harvested from the surroundings. Even water, hydrogen, industrial-grade materials can be generated. At first, places like Moon and Mars will be colonized like this, then they will be completely terraformed as newly born Earths. Anything, any material, can be synthesized like plants do with photosynthesis. These processes are very similar to photosynthesis. They mimic and increase its efficiency meticulously. If all the things needed to supply the society can be synthesized artificially from the air and from ambient, abundant sources, space colonization will be more feasible. The Earth will be regenerated. Efficient energy sources like hydrogen are being harvested from seawater and wastewater with new filtering membrane technologies that harvest only water and hydrogen molecules from any type of dirty or salty water. These membrane technologies are able to harvest molecules from the air, like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and other elements, so they can be used to produce water and other essential resources. A lot of resources, water, Materials could be harvested from other spheres in this solar system and in proximity, then transported to Earth. Space colonies could become extremely self-sufficient, demanding nothing from the Earth, instead producing more than they use, in order to enrich their sphere of influence. Planets aren't supposed to be in the habitable zones to be harvested for their resources. Ambient synthesis of elements to create all kinds of resources will be adequate for space colonies and trade. With the different minerals, metals, elements found in space and other planets, tech components can be manufactured and shipped to Earth. Consequently, advanced technologies will be developed with minerals, metals and other things mined from space, while they're being colonized and terraformed. Water is being generated from the air here on Earth, why not on other planets? Water, all kinds of materials, substances will be produced from the air via artificial synthesis mechanisms, creating very livable and biodiversity-rich worlds and colonies. This level of society will surpass all aliens races, not through technology, through regeneration, terraforming, and abundance of new ambient resource generation systems. There is oxygen on Mars that can be combined with hydrogen to produce water out of thin air. After that, plants and industrial-grade farming can thrive on Mars, either on surface or underground. Underground is safer from radiation. Earth society might have to move underground one day, if global warming gets worse and worse. Chemical reactions are required to make new things out of thin and from the environment. When hydrogen production is able to supply the globe, it will replace old fuels and fuel systems in a short time. Hydrogen is a very robust energy source. It can also be combined with other gases to make many things. Hydrogen can be made from the air with new membrane filtering, then it can be combined with oxygen. Water vapor in the air can be harvested with membrane systems. It can be split into hydrogen and oxygen after that. Soon, plants will grow on the Moon, then on Mars. They were able to grow various plants as a food source in the space station for some time. This means that plants and life can actually thrive in space conditions, when they're treated and grown properly. This also implies that life can go on anywhere, because most life forms and organisms rely on plants and the ecosystems that they concoct. There are many species of plants, trees, shrubs, etc. that can survive without months of water. These are the first ones that can thrive in harsh space conditions, creating new environments for people and animals to endure. Humanity's future may be to terraform and create a new universe here in this solar system and afar, by regenerating the Earth to its most sustainable phase. Plants play a very big role in this. In order to create livable, robust ecosystems for people to settle on, plants, trees, and crops are the most essential. Some reforestation efforts to sequester carbon with plants and trees had been unsuccessful, because it's still difficult for them to adapt to degraded, barren lands without much vegetation or trees. The best places had been near other trees and forests, because underground fungi networks reach out to new sapling and support them. Afterwards, they become a part of the ecosystem and grow well. Other creatures start migrating. Forests and rich ecosystems are the most essential biomes that build water resources and new watersheds. Freshwater reservoirs had been shrinking rapidly, and water will always be the greatest resource for all life on Earth. Inside sealed chambers, settings of Moon, Mars and other spheres could be set up to experiment on growing crops, establishing productions, building colonies, creating ecosystems rich in biodiversity, and so forth. Space colonies could be established here on Earth at first to experiment and perfect every endeavor in requisite. If crops, animals thrive in space chambers, water is created naturally and technologically, other resources are produced for production, humans can survive, maybe even live well in space. Printed solar panels will generate enough power for space colonies. Even in space, there are enough materials and minerals to print out and 3D print renewable energy devices. Here on Earth, every building's exterior will be designed to generate energy from different types of renewable energy. Printed panels are recyclable, lightweight, manufactured using conventional printers, easy to make. In space, renewable energy can be abundant. All the satellites are powered with renewable energy. High-tech devices like satellites are an example of powering any high-tech device in space is practical. Abundant renewable energy is required to create livable, rich ecosystems, habitats for people and other organisms to thrive in space. Seawater is being used to generate electricity by reacting with copper and magnesium. Low-voltage devices are already developed that are powered by seawater or urine. Wastewater, which is a massive polluting source, can be used to generate electricity and other things. Sodium batteries are in full development. They may be as good as lithium-ion soon. Seawater is going to be a great resource for all industries, energy sectors, manufacturing, battery production and so on. Seawater can generate electricity, also store it with sodium-ion batteries. It contains minerals, just like wastewater. Water can be harvested from seawater with new technologies, without producing too much brine that goes back to the seas and oceans, making them toxic. High concentrated sodium and lithium can be combined to make the most efficient batteries that are inflammable and high energy density. That way, batteries can be densely packed to improve energy density. Sodium has its uses in many industries. It will be a big part of the energy sector. Molten salt is being used to generate and store heat from concentrated photovoltaics to generate a lot of energy. Sodium can be combined with other minerals to produce much better battery structures to reach net zero faster. It's also highly recyclable. It's able to continually get recycled over and over again. Seawater can generate electricity and store it at the same time. Sodium can be sourced from seawater to make batteries, making it one of the most abundant materials for all industries. If sodium is used for tech developments and manufacturing, brine from desalination will be a commodity instead of being a contaminator. Renewable energy minerals are required to be recycled over and over again, since mining them is harmful to the environment. Abundant and harmless minerals like sodium will be a great alternative to many minerals used for renewable technologies and other tech manufacturing. Every element used for tech and renewable technology manufacturing will be recycled in a loop. Ethanol is being produced from captured carbon via fermentation. It's one of the most commonly used chemicals for many industries. Chemicals and materials like this can be made from captured carbon, via fermentation, synthesis, and other processes. The carbon emitted by industrial activity can be captured before it's released into the atmosphere. Sooner or later, all the emissions will be captured and used as a feedstock to make all kinds of products. The future will be brighter and more exciting in a net zero world, rather than surviving and suffering cataclysmic events frequently. Of course, reaching net zero, renewable energy, and other technologies won't resolve the biodiversity collapse, species extinction, nor environmental degradation, which are all very severe global issues. Every continent and state is affected by these consequences. The environment and its fragile resources had been misused and overused for centuries. This cannot go on much longer. There are many alien races and organizations that are here with very sinister and malevolent agendas. Many other larger powers are watching from afar, evaluating how they can gain control of the Earth and establish themselves as the main rulers. This is the most dangerous event, as dangerous and precarious as the environmental changes and depletion occurring in the world at this time. They're both interrelated to each other. Humans should stop squandering the Earth and contending each other, where the real enemy is hiding behind the scenes. The planet is required to be restored to its most ecologically abundant state in every region as soon as possible. Without stable ecological patterns, all the resources that supply society will get exhausted. Scientists believe that the water vapor over the oceans is a great source of fresh water, with large tanks collecting water vapor and transferring on shore for condensation and freshwater production. Most of the coastal populations can receive enough water. Humidity in the air is a great water source. Many devices had been invented to condense humidity and vapor in the air to produce water. Very large devices can do this better over the oceans to supply enough water for the growing population. Water security is the base of all society. Without adequate supply of water, human society would collapse in short time. That's why desertification and drought conditions must be reversed, so naturally resorted areas can receive enough rainfall to continue producing fresh water. It's obvious the greenest regions of the world are the richer with fresh water and natural resources. Humans had been farming and growing the most nourishing species to render their industries. Most of the industrially used species were derived from the greenest, most forested areas. If these areas degrade, there won't be any place and anything to grow and farm, leaving society extremely impoverished in a short time. Water vapor in the air can be condensed to generate a lot of water, then it gets filtered just like other types of water running through the pipes. Desalination is very expensive and energy intensive. It also produces brine that spoils the seawater. filled with marine life. Desalination isn't practical, unless the brine is fully filtered and divided into useful minerals. Condensing water vapor is a clean process, also requires a lot less energy than desalination. This technology can be scaled up globally to provide enough water to coastal and rural communities. When there is enough water in places undergoing droughts or receive little water, it will be easier to restore the landscape, plant forests, grow crops, begin regenerative and sustainable agricultural practices, even natural solutions to climate change. Water is always the main factor of climate solutions, restoration, and other procedures attempted to regenerate the planet. Climate change technologies and clean energy implementation won't solve the biodiversity collapse completely. Humans are supposed to stop consuming the planet at an exponential rate. They have to conserve, regrow, preserve, care for more than they consume and use. Most of the planet must be rewilded, rejuvenated to its previous, once abundant and pristine state. Climate solutions, technologies, and green energy won't solve the biodiversity collapse occurring worldwide. Destruction and overconsumption of the environment had led to global biodiversity breakdown that had been intensifying every year. More species are going extinct, more habitats are being declining every year. Humans have to restore and preserve, also conserve probably over 70% of the planet for biodiversity, natural abundance, as well as natural water production. Most of the areas that provide water to wildlife, forests and humans altogether, had been contracting, or totally disappearing. Without natural water resources and abundant environment that produce the water all life depends on, human society won't have a chance in surviving in the near future. All industries fail if there is no water. Even energy generation relies on a tremendous amount of water. Solar panel manufacturing uses so much water, power plants as well. The planet had been warning mankind with frequent and more severe natural disasters. The Earth itself is a living sphere with great intelligence and awareness. It's been harboring countless life forms for millions of years. It wasn't always Earth-like either. It takes a few billion years or more for planets to become Earth-like. However, the Earth has the capability to breathe life back into dying or dead alien worlds. Mars has many structures and relics similar to the ones in Egypt and in other places on Earth. This indicates that it was habitable in the ancient past but died out, probably as a result of environmental collapse. The same thing is occurring on Earth at a global scale, which must be prevented with global cooperation and effort. Climate solutions and technologies will help the environment in some ways, but the planet's dying ecosystems must be rejuvenated and the rest of them must be preserved as they are, before it's too late. Restoration with native and resilient species is necessary to bring back once abundant and rich ecosystems. Without them, it will be impossible to create the regional microclimates to reverse climate change. Every region has its own microclimate. All of these form a global climatic and atmospheric pattern that bring rainfall, stable climate to every continent. Humans had been ravaging upon every territory they come around for thousands of years. In the past, most of the planet was covered in forests, rivers, and richest ecosystems harboring the greatest biodiversity that you can see in planets like the Pandora. This is the true depiction of the Earth. Human society can thrive and progress better with a deep connection to nature and all the organisms in it. Every human being is actually deeply bound to nature in every possible, yet they act like they're the utmost consumers with zero connection to nature's stability and fragility. Green energy and climate technologies won't solve climate change, because they can only reduce emissions and environmental impact to a certain point. The chain of events related to environmental changes have already begun. Some people think it will be literally impossible to do much about it. Of course, humans will always need technology and mining of minerals, because nobody would want to live primitively or just as a farmer. Thus, the developments, technologies, solutions should be designed to restore and regenerate the environment with greater biodiversity and abundance of natural resources that all life depends on, not just humans. One day, global warming can be stabilized, the temperatures can go back to normal globally. Yet, natural resource depletion and environmental breakdown might not be prevented nor reversed with technology alone. Every product made must be redesigned to increase sustainability, protect and regenerate the environment. Otherwise, depletion and breakdown of the environment will be irreparable. This actually has happened in so many worlds in the universe, not just on Earth. Most of the aliens that travel here with different agendas, come here from depleted or barren worlds. They've grown technologically and consumed everything in their environment, thus forced to search for resources elsewhere. Other planets will never have the resources that humans need in the future, even now. Look at Mars. Most planets will look very similar to that. It's a barren and dead world. The solar system contains planets and moons, very similar to exoplanets, that contain intelligent life forms and civilizations, like Titan, Mars, Ganymede, Europa, etc. The aliens had been establishing stations all over the solar system and the Earth in secret locations. This is a very dangerous phenomenon. They're all here with sinister agendas. Firstly, humans have to protect their world ecologically, otherwise they won't have the resources to compete with the aliens. Every product must benefit the environment, regrow and nurture natural resources, without overusing them. In this way, the ecology and hydrology of every area could be refreshed. The diversity of species will always increase natural resources, while industries are supporting diversity and combination of materials for sustainability and ecological improvements. The concept of regeneration must be embraced by every company, industry, city, and nation. It's about going beyond sustainability, keeping the things the way they are, actually replenishing natural systems and improving quality of life. Productions can grow more than they need to replenish natural ecosystems. Products can be totally compostable. The alien technologies will never make any of these possible. The nature has all the answers, since it's probably older and more evolved than alien civilizations themselves. Captured carbon will be very useful soon. Carbon dioxide that is captured from the atmosphere, or industrial processes, can be used to make a variety of products. Some of the most common products made from captured carbon include building materials, such as concrete and insulation, as well as chemicals and fuels. One of the most widely used products made from captured carbon is building material. Carbon dioxide can be used as a raw material to make concrete and other construction materials, which can help to reduce the carbon footprint of the building industry. Captured carbon dioxide can also be used to make chemicals and fuels. For example, carbon dioxide can be combined with hydrogen to make a variety of chemicals, such as methanol and formic acid. These chemicals can be used as feedstocks for other products, such as plastics and solvents. Carbon dioxide can also be used to produce renewable fuels, such as renewable natural gas, which can be used as a cleaner alternative to fossil fuels. While these new technologies are improving, they can be deployed to other planets to make all kinds of products from captured carbon. There is so much carbon in many planets, moons in this solar system and afar. Titan has a methane-rich atmosphere. Mars' atmosphere is filled with carbon dioxide. These are great resources to make products and perhaps to colonize new worlds. All kinds of building materials, chemicals, feedstocks can be made from these gases abundant in the atmosphere on Earth and other planets. Similar to artificial photosynthesis, many gases, elements will be combined to make everything a space colony needs. Self-sustaining space colonization will rely on these new technologies and techniques developed technologically and in labs with great research and experimentation. Plants and natural processes will come after to bring photosynthetic productions to space colonies. Vertical farming is getting better, more sophisticated every year. Vertical farming will revolutionize cities and can feed space colonies one day. Many buildings will include vertical farming, while they generate the energy from green energy components integrated into roofs, facades, and walls. Green energy is being integrated into agriculture in many places. Solar panels improve farming in many ways. They turn blue light into electricity, while crops absorb red light for greater yields. So much carbon can be captured and utilized with plants if they're included in every industry, city, and manufacturing process. Carbon capture and sequestration relies on biodiversity in every way possible. Biodiversity protection and enhancements must be the main goal of every industry, city, and any economic system. Natural cycles in all ecosystems continually recycle carbon and sequester it. This is a great natural process that's been evolving for billions of years. It will eventually breathe life into other worlds and moons. Life will start thriving out in space via biodiversity infusion. The economy will get better in a world thriving with biodiversity. All productions depend on it as an interwoven mechanism. Terraforming Mars is a hypothetical process by which the surface and climate of Mars would be deliberately changed to make it habitable for humans. There are several proposed methods for terraforming Mars, but most of them involve releasing gas from the Martian surface to create a greenhouse effect, which would warm the planet and allow liquid water to exist on its surface. Other proposed methods include building mirrors or other structures to reflect more sunlight onto the planet, or building underground habitats to protect humans from the harsh surface conditions. There are several proposed technologies that could potentially be used to terraform Mars. Some of these include release of gases from the Martian surface to create a greenhouse effect, which would warm the planet and allow liquid water to exist on its surface. This could be done by introducing gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor, or methane into the Martian atmosphere. Construction of mirrors or other structures to reflect more sunlight onto the planet, which would help to warm the surface and allow liquid water to exist. Building underground habitats to protect humans from the harsh surface conditions on Mars, which would allow people to live and work on the planet without having to rely on expensive and cumbersome spacesuits. Development of new technologies to extract and use resources from the Martian surface, such as water and other materials that could be used to support human life and industry. When nuclear fusion is in full swing, it will be capable of powering all the operation of human colonies on the Moon, Mars, and other planets, probably even exoplanets that can be colonized. Energy is the #1 requirement for any operation here on Earth and afar. Food can be grown anywhere in space, inside sealed greenhouses, or in vertical farms. Materials can be produced with ambient sources like the regolith, elements in the air, from plants, waste, carbon synthesis, from the minerals found underground, etc. A lot of energy generated from nuclear fusion can allow all of these to become a reality in space, on other planets, moons. Perhaps, an artificial magnetic field can be generated to block the solar radiation, warm or cool down other planets to habitable conditions with nuclear fusion and other technologies. Synthetic fuels can be made on other planets with CO2. Some companies feed it to algae to make feed, cosmetics, and biodiesel. The excess greenhouse gases would be beneficial on other planets like Mars. If a magnetic field to retain a thick atmosphere can be formed, greenhouse gases would warm the planet, also be used industrially with new technologies and synthesis mechanisms. Most efficient climate technologies can be deployed to many spheres in this solar system and afar. This is how space colonization can be achievable. Of course, everything will work totally different from the Earth in space. All life depends on photosynthesis here on Earth. In space it will still depend on it, yet artificial photosynthesis and its equivalents will be more effective. Sodium batteries made of seawater will be more efficient and will have higher energy density than lithium-ion. Soon, these batteries can be made on other planets if there's a lot of sodium or perhaps underground oceans. In some moons, there's evidence of underground oceans that may contain different minerals, metals, enough water, creatures, and a lot of resources. Sodium might be abundant on other planets and moons to manufacture a lot of batteries for green energies deployed to off-space colonies. The technologies being developed to tackle climate change in every way will have the chance to surpass all alien technologies, also assist in space colonization and terraforming. There are aliens here on Earth and in a lot of places in the universe, yet there's no evidence of them terraforming, nor building very sustainable civilizations. Instead, it appears to be that advanced and technological civilization eventually deplete their worlds to search for resources elsewhere in space. This should never happen to the human society by any means. It's probably the worst thing for a civilization's homeworld to be depleted or wound up almost uninhabitable as a result of environmental changes. Therefore, sustainability must be the main goal of every nation, industry, and city, also every other human ambition. Without extreme sustainability to preserve the Earth's replenishments, it will be impossible to survive coming cataclysms, nor colonize space. Seawater batteries had been used for low-voltage lamps for a while. This confirms that seawater can be used as an energy source and a battery. Seawater and even wastewater can be some of the best energy sources. Many things can be made from them. There is so much hydrogen in wastewater to be extracted with new catalysts and membranes. Wastewater can become an energy source soon. Hydrogen is going to be one of the best carbon-free energies soon. There are other elements abundant in wastewater that can be extracted to make nitrogen-rich fertilizers. Wastewater has a lot of water in it, so there is a lot of hydrogen and oxygen in it as well. Electrolysis can still extract both hydrogen and oxygen from wastewater. Hydrogen and oxygen can be combined with other gases and elements extracted from waste in seawater to make so many things: fuels, chemicals, materials, even batteries. Carbon from the air will be a great resource. It will be combined with many other waste elements to manufacture so many things the society needs, presenting a carbon-negative society to the universe. The universe is actually filled with life, but it's still a very harsh expanse for humans, which is a newly developing civilization. The Earth has the resources and complex organic compounds to bring life back into many new spheres. Technology and science will leap with these new systems and breakthroughs being researched, developed, experimented on with the cooperation and dedication of so many people. Soon, every surface will turn into an energy source, rather than a consumer. Buildings, cities, squander too much energy. Most of the generated energy dissipates as waste heat, only a fraction of it is actually used. It would be better to convert every surface into an energy source. Researchers had engineered ultralight, flexible, thin-film solar cells that can stick to any surface. They weigh 100 times less than traditional solar panels, and generate 18 times more power by mass. They're printable using ink-based materials and novel fabrication techniques. It's easy and fast to manufacture and deploy them. A coat of nanomaterials in the form of electronic inks onto peelable substrates. Using simple screen printing techniques, an electrode, collecting the generated power, is added to the top of the solar cell. Solar cells can be peeled off the substrates, laminated onto a variety of materials. These new thin solar cells can convert any surface into a carbon-free energy source. There is so much waste heat, thermophotovoltaic cells can also harvest the emanated heat from any source, like power plants, engines, manufacturing processes, and so on. New materials, discovered and experimented on, made it possible to print out solar cells thin and peelable to cover any surface. Eventually, every surface and gadget will generate its own energy from ambient lighting and solar. Gadgets, electronics can recharge while there is indoor lighting. Some of them won't include a battery, because ambient lighting will be sufficient for them to operate. Some low-powered, personal electronics and gadgets can be powered via indoor and outdoor lighting. These new printed solar cells generate more energy than traditional solar panels that require sunlight to generate electricity. Any building, facility, and transportation system can integrate thin solar cells on the exterior to generate a lot of electricity for some, if not all of their operations. Solar can be one of the best energy sources, outshining fossil fuels and other energy sources. This way, human society can reach net zero quicker and build a greener, more sustainable civilization unlike anything in the past. Technology changes and evolves to accommodate the demand and reformation of every century. Now, environmental and climatic calamities have forced humanity to change everything they do for their future and security. Many new technologies, software and nature-based solutions and projects will come to life to deal with the global issues related to ecology, climate, resources, nature, biodiversity, desertification, deforestation, extinctions, degradation, and so on. The planet may continue warming as it is, getting hotter and more volatile every year. Nobody knows what this will bring out in the near future, yet solutions on every sector must be initiated with integrity and cooperation. Some solutions can be deployed worldwide, some are regional. However, global cooperation is extremely necessary to actually solve the issues that will affect every human being and life form. Sooner or later, new planets and moons must be colonized while the Earth is becoming more uninhabitable and depleted. A lot of people don't know how to react nor act upon the global issues. They still live and work as before. With global software integrations that address global issues and the environment, the world population can learn and organize to carry out the most critical tasks, operations, and projects. At first, the planet might keep warming, then it might get more stable and stabilized with the most effective solutions and globally arranged tech and integrations. It may be more practical to colonize and terraform the moon than Mars. The newest technologies, designed to colonize and terraform space, will be extremely useful in restoring and reshaping the Earth to become more sustainable and stable. Soon, green colonies and domed structures may be visible on the surface of the moon before traveling to Mars. Very robust dome structures can house colonies, plants, and animals. Artificial gravity can be integrated in surface and underground domes for people to live and work like on Earth. The technologies that work on the Moon can be easily deployed to other moons and Mars. In addition, space colony testing can play out underground or in sealed domes on Earth for many people to participate and innovate to improve the technologies and systems. Many minerals can be found, since the Moon had been bombarded with meteoroids that contain metals and minerals for a long time. Helium-3 has been found on the Moon. It could be used by nuclear fusion power plants. It would extend the capabilities of supplying both Earth and the Moon with energy for lunar cities and bases. Scientists have grown plants with the soil samples from the Moon. Mars soil is toxic for plant growth. Only soils transported from the Earth can be used to grow anything there. Moon regolith is similar to Earth's crust. Plants can grow well with added nutrients and water. Perhaps, after the Moon, terraforming the Moon in the solar system may be more rational. Pressurizing domes and lava tubes, implanting large greenhouses, building the necessary infrastructure, securing the renewable energy generation like solar and nuclear, the Moon can be used as a springboard to colonize the solar system. The mechanisms and technologies, developed during this time, might become more advanced than alien technologies observed for some time. Bringing livable environments to other worlds is probably the best technology, not taking it all from places until nothing is left. For this reason, self-sufficiency must be one of the main goals of human society and space colonies. There will be a lot of different resources to utilize on moons and other planets. Regenerative systems will increase livability, comfort, and resource generation anywhere on Earth and in space. Regenerative systems are barely being considered here on Earth because nature has provided everything people needed for a while. Fungi have appeared earlier than most organisms and plants on Earth. It can be grown to make many things. It can also thrive in space environments. Packaging, foods, ingredients, meat alternatives, compostable materials, furniture are being made with types of fungi and mushrooms. Mycelium networks transmit nutrients to the roots of every plant and tree in nature. Without them, forests would die out. Mycelium and microbial diversity can add and transmit nutrients to space soils and regolith that will become more like Earth soil one day. Regolith is considered as a 3D printing materials to build structures, domes on the Moon and in space. Regolith can be transported to Earth from other planets to 3D print elegant structures, buildings, and gadgets. There will be space trade between the moons, planets that humans are colonizing and attempted terraforming. Newest space telescopes have detected Earth-like worlds in the habitable zones of nearby star systems. This insinuates that humans can reach other star systems containing habitable worlds, or worlds that can be terraformed in a short time. Transport of tons of goods is required to breathe life into new worlds and moons, but eventually they must be self-sufficient. With helium-3 from the Moon, humans might enable nuclear fusion to power the Earth and space colonies. Magnetic fields can be generated with nuclear fusion because it provides almost limitless amount of energy with little input. Many new artificial suns can be created here on Earth to provide limitless energy with zero emissions, so the environment can be restored and kept intact for thousands and millions of years. Fusion might be the next breakthrough to secure the future of humanity and every nation. More alien forces are coming to Earth every year to take advantage of a conflicted and weakening society. The environment is declining at a rapid rate. Nobody knows if there will be enough basic resources to survive soon, like water, food, all the essentials. Sooner or later, nuclear fusion may generate way more energy than solar, fossil fuels, wind or any other energy source. After this, the freshwater sources might be restored naturally and new ones must be created with global regeneration of the environment. Greenhouse gases will become a resource for every industry in many ways. Every company, nation, startup, and organization is supposed to research and work on this new endeavor. Greenhouse gases can be feedstock for many productions to store them into a variety of products. Compact nuclear reactors will propel spacecraft to Mars, moons in this solar system that are suitable for colonization and terraforming. A lot of materials can be harvested from the solar system, as well as from the asteroids, for the manufacturing of new products and technologies that were unknown before. Everything is made of something. There are a lot of different resources in every sphere to be utilized for advanced manufacturing, 3D printing. For instance, Materials and products from Mars would be way more valuable than high-tech, because they're made in a different world and with new technologies and manufacturing systems. There might be a lot of exoplanets with unique compositions, minerals, and materials to be harvested for high-tech, space manufacturing. Scientists are discovering that microprocessors can be faster and more advanced when they're made of lattices from combined elements like carbon, boron, silicon, etc. New minerals and elements will be discovered in space to develop more advanced technologies, components, and render quantum processors via new photonic systems and materials. Energy innovation is critical to reduce the emissions rapidly and to provide the infrastructure for environmental and resource security. Of course, minerals required for the energy transition aren't totally sustainable, mining them still harm the environment. More eco-friendly, perhaps carbon-based technologies to generate energy for manufacturing must be researched and experimented on. Some of them could be made from waste, since scientists already discovered how to turn carbon-rich waste into flash graphene. Some alien spacecraft obtained had contained advanced versions of nuclear reactors as a power source to propel and power the craft in extremely high speeds, which probably achieved by anti-gravity devices. Hence, advanced nuclear reactors like compact nuclear fusion can power any type of craft to travel high speed to harvest essential minerals in this solar system, as well as for space colonization. The breakthroughs and advancements for space travel and for energy generation will engender a net zero, sustainable, even a completely regenerative world, and society aims to protect and conserve its only livable environment. Hereafter, habitats developed for space colonization are going to be common here on Earth if the planet winds up partially uninhabitable or dissipated. The alien takeover of Earth should be prevented with global cooperation, awareness, and reformation in every field. Old systems are ineffective to solve the current issues regarding every nation. The globe is going to be more connected, cooperative and harmonious when renewable energy and organic productions are prevalent to boost sustainability and ecology in every region. Regional and domestic differences will be futile, because climate, environmental, energy solutions will be deployed globally to every sector. The alien technologies will never achieve anything during this time. Humans can create better, more advanced, more effective solutions and technologies from now on. Some of the greatest breakthroughs are in research, experiment, testing, and development phase. They will be operational soon, delivering greater benefits than any alien technology or deceptive agenda. Climate technologies are in the beginning phase. All of them will improve and move the world to greater sustainability, self-sufficiency and environmental friendliness soon. Of course, there are a lot of methods, procedures, and systems that are part of the labeling of climate technologies. Some of them aren't technologies, like urban, regenerative farming, ecological restoration, coral reef protection, etc. Every type of pollution that contribute to climate change and global shifts can be turned into a resource for new industries and the current ones with new technologies, recycling systems and other processes. Nobody knew that carbon capture plants could collect so much carbon to be used for many industries before. Now, this is becoming a reality worldwide. Plants have evolved to convert carbon into many useful things for all organisms. This is how they made the world habitable for many species like humans. Without a rich ecosystem of plants in every region, life cannot go on. Humans are only a part of this ecosystem. Undermining it will torment every human being. Pollution can be harvested as a resource. Scientists and researchers are discovering that wastewater can be used to make hydrogen, fertilizers, and many other things. Back in the day, wastewater was polluting rivers, lakes, seas, and many ecosystems in all nations. Climate change has awakened mankind and showed them the right path to evolution and growth. With global participation of many scientists, engineers, researchers, environmentalists, and all other experts, many new technologies, inventions can be discovered and new systems of utmost sustainability can be contrived. Many minerals, elements will be gathered from seawater. Seawater consists of an abundance of minerals used for batteries, clean energy devices, and other technologies. Novel membranes can even reap lithium from seawater, as well as hydrogen. When all of these elements are collected individually with new membrane devices, they are going to be utilized for many industries tend to go green, more sustainable, and consider climate in their blueprint. Zinc-based batteries can be as efficient and energy-dense as lithium-ion. Eventually, batteries made of more abundant minerals will excel lithium-ion, which is critical for the global energy shift. Zinc is an abundant mineral, being scaled up for the batteries deployed for the global clean energy shift. Seawater and sodium batteries are going to get better, perhaps surpass lithium-ion one day. Batteries, made of abundant minerals like these, will be included in every building, home and zone to store the energy from all clean energy sources. It's easier to recycle energy devices made of abundant materials. Thus, most energy devices will be made of many minerals that are abundant in Earth's crust or easy to source in other ways. Plant-based materials like lignin found in wood is being used to make batteries and many other technologies crucial to climate stabilization. This is proof. Plant materials like cellulose, lignin, fibers, and all other constituents will be applied to green energy and sustainability shift in every industry and region. Carbon-rich polymers from lignin, which makes up 25% of wood's structure, are developed for batteries and other sustainable components. Cellulose and lignin are some of the most abundant, renewable carbon sources. Lignin can be sourced from sustainably grown forests. Supply chains will be growable and completely renewable when plant-based materials and agricultural waste are used. Graphite is being swapped with a biocarbon like lignin to make batteries. Plant-based materials are being upcycled into hard carbon powders, like char. Insulators like lignin are turning it into carbon conductors. Char is pressed into electrode sheets and assembled with other components. Composites made of many minerals and materials are more efficient than the ones based on single ingredients. Many industries, like paper industry, generate byproducts like lignin, cellulose, useful waste. Lignin-based anodes are already suitable for consumer electronics, grid energy storage. Bio-based carbon sources like these improve electrical and technological systems in many ways. Scientists are creating carbon nanospheres to replace traditional components used in a lot of electrical and technological structures. Researchers have been exploring the use of plant-based materials as a source of renewable and sustainable energy. For example, researchers have developed prototypes of batteries that use plant-based materials as electrodes. These plant-based materials can be derived from a variety of sources, including crops such as corn and sugarcane, as well as woody plants and agricultural waste. One example of a plant-based battery is the biobattery, which uses enzymes derived from plants to facilitate the chemical reactions that produce electricity. Biobatteries have the potential to be more environmentally friendly than traditional batteries, as they use renewable resources and produce fewer emissions during their production and use. Plastics made from plant-based materials, such as corn, potato, or sugarcane, are known as bioplastics. These materials are biodegradable and have a lower environmental impact than traditional plastics made from fossil fuels. Composites, plant-based materials, such as flax, hemp, and wood, can be used to make composite materials, which are used in a variety of applications, including construction, automotive, and aerospace. Biopaper, paper made from plant fibers, such as wood, bamboo, and straw, is a sustainable alternative to traditional paper made from trees. Bio-based products, plant-based materials can be used to make a wide range of products, including textiles, adhesives, and insulation materials. Overall, the use of plant-based materials in the production of technology has the potential to reduce our reliance on non-renewable resources, lower greenhouse gas emissions, and reduce waste. Carbon capture and utilization refers to the process of capturing carbon dioxide emissions from industrial processes or power plants and using it as a feedstock to produce valuable chemicals or materials. For example, CO2 can be used to make plastics, fuels, and concrete. Carbon dioxide emissions can be reduced. Carbon dioxide reduction refers to the process of converting CO2 into useful chemicals or materials using renewable energy sources, such as solar or wind power. This can be done through a variety of approaches, including an electrochemical reduction, photocatalysis, and microbe-mediated processes. Reusing existing waste streams for supply chains has big potential for the economic eco-compatibility. Using bio-based materials instead of graphite and lithium had made batteries more sustainable, efficient, faster charging and last longer. Every nation and state can actually grow the materials needed for the economic shift to extreme sustainability and climate improvements. Supply chains can be grown by improving the environment and capturing carbon from the atmosphere. Industries can reach net zero faster by incorporating plant-based materials and waste into their supply chains and product designs. Carbon dioxide can be used as a feedstock to produce a variety of valuable chemicals and materials. Plastics, CO2 can be used to make polycarbonate plastics, which are used in a variety of applications, including construction, automotive, and electronics. Fuels. CO2 can be used to make synthetic fuels, such as methanol and dimethyl ether, through the process of carbon capture and utilization. These fuels can be used as a renewable alternative to fossil fuels. Concrete. CO2 can be used to make low-carbon concrete, which has a lower carbon footprint than traditional concrete. Chemicals. CO2 can be used to make a variety of chemicals, including urea, formaldehyde, and methanol. Carbon fiber. CO2 can be used to make carbon fiber, which is a strong and lightweight material used in the aerospace, automotive, and construction industries. Carbon fiber is made through a process called carbonization, which involves heating a precursor material, such as polyacrylonitrile or petroleum pitch, to high temperatures in the absence of oxygen. During this process, the precursor material breaks down and forms a network of carbon atoms, which forms the basis of the carbon fiber. Captured carbon, such as carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, can be used as an alternative precursor material to make carbon fiber. The process of making carbon fiber from captured carbon involves reacting the captured carbon with a chemical catalyst to produce a gas mixture containing CO and H, subscript 2. This gas mixture is then passed through a bed of hot, porous material, such as activated carbon or silicon carbide, which acts as a catalyst to facilitate the reaction between the CO and H, subscript 2, to create a carbon-rich product. This carbon-rich product can then be heated to high temperatures to produce carbon fiber. All the greenhouse gas emissions can be catalyzed to make all kinds of products worldwide. This is a global issue, and it can be used as a benefit for all industries. Every country's emissions had been skyrocketing to supply the demand for population growth and economic expansion. Greenhouse gas emissions and waste will be the newest feedstock for all industries, as well as for the greener sectors and plant-based industries. New industrial technologies have the potential to deliver far greater CO2 reductions while triggering a cascade of technology adoption applicable across industry groups. For example, process heat accounts for more than 60% of on-site industrial energy use and is a good target for reduction. Industrial heat pumps are a viable solution as they are highly efficient, aid electrification, and can service heating up to 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit, and cooling needs. The reduction potential for additional pollutants is also important. By substituting clean energy sources for natural gas, electric crackers could avoid 40 metric tons per year of methane emissions, a greenhouse gas that is 27 times more potent than CO2, along with 160 metric tons per year of NOx, 9 metric tons of SOx, and 66 metric tons of particulates. Capturing and utilizing all the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is a complex and challenging task. There are several approaches that have been proposed to address this issue, including carbon capture and storage. This involves capturing carbon dioxide emissions from power plants, factories, and other sources, and then storing them underground in geological formations or in the ocean. CCS can be used to reduce CO2 emissions from fossil fuel combustion, but it is currently an expensive and technically challenging process. Carbon dioxide removal technologies. CDR technologies aim to remove CO2 from the atmosphere and store it in a safe and stable form. Some examples of CDR technologies include afforestation and reforestation, soil carbon sequestration, and direct air capture. Renewable energy technologies. Transitioning to renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind power, can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. These technologies do not produce CO2 emissions when they generate electricity, unlike fossil fuels. Energy efficiency measures. Improving the energy efficiency of buildings, vehicles, and industrial processes can also help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This can be achieved through the use of more efficient appliances and equipment, as well as better design and construction practices. Soon, moons, Mars and other planets will be colonized and begin terraforming by human society. This is a complex and arduous mission, yet it will bring so many benefits and even sustainable improvements to every aspect of society. At first, inflatable modules covered in regolith to protect from radiation will be established on the Moon and Mars. After that, larger domes including algae-based air generators, powered by nuclear and other renewable energies will be constructed. Electromagnetic cannons will transport the materials and goods for the colonies, while they begin producing everything they need as a self-sustaining colony. There are a lot of materials, gases, elements to be combined into many productions, so colonies can become self-sustaining after a while. All of these new production systems can also be replicated here on Earth to give rise to the most sustainable civilization in history. Many natural resources like water, hydrogen, helium, iron oxides, minerals, and even carbon dioxide are widely available in most of the solar system. In polar regions, there is so much ice to be used as a water source on moons and Mars. Oxygen produced and hydrogen harvested from different sources can be combined to produce a lot of water as well. Helium-3 is abundant on the surface of the Moon, which is rare on Earth. Controlled nuclear fusion can be achieved with helium-3 on the Moon and other planets. Regolith, essentially composed of a mixture of silicon and iron-containing compounds, could be melted to produce a very strong and radiation-shielding glass coating. Regolith on other planets and moons can be used to produce external support structures that enclose inflatable habitats. The material can be mixed with other materials to make it similar to stone. 3D printers are able to shape the resin made of regolith and other compounds into bricks, building materials and structures. The habitats required to house colonies in space can be constructed and tested on Earth first, even underground. Many people would like to participate in constructing and experimenting of these habitats, made of regolith, plants, bioreactors, and other uncommon, space substances.